live right now.
No sweat. When you're done, you can just shut this one down. If it's slow, you probably gotta take it to the computer man to look at. All right, questions. Go ahead.
God, sir. Is there any precepts for the holiday of Halloween in the scriptures of the Bible?
Yeah, definitely. All right, you know the history of Halloween. Have you ever gotten that breakdown?
I believe I have in the past, in some of the history classes.
Okay.
But it's just short.
Escaping you right now. No sweat. When Halloween next weekend? Or this coming? Is this coming weekend, right? It's the end of the month.
Concert.
Yeah, I think it's Saturday, sir.
Saturday.
Okay.
31st.
You 31st?
I believe it's 31st.
Concert.
It's in the end of October. That's this weekend, right?
Concert.
You can leave all of us until after class.
Concert. Yeah, that's not the day she was born.
Say that one more time. Speak up a little bit.
Yeah, concert. Because that's the day my little sister was born. So yes.
Oh, your little sister is a scary baby. She got a horror movie on.
She got little points on her eyebrows too. Curl up.
So she come on the womb. You thought she was Damien?
The thing is, she's sweet as can be.
No sweat. I was just joking. Go ahead, Al.
Slack, give a shot at the precept.
Go ahead.
Called the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any engraven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
Okay, how was that Halloween?
Just in my in just being in class, just about every holiday.
Just fix the thing there for me, huh?
Just about every holiday has to do with idol worship.
Okay, read the scripture again.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. That's the main one.
Okay. So how you bringing it to Halloween?
Halloween. I mean, when you're putting on costumes, and giving out the candy, that's like giving like a little sacrifice. You're making little altars. Your house is like a little altar to it. Everything, just the whole makeup of it is celebrating ghouls and demons and all of that.
Okay. I mean, somebody might say you wear a costume, right? Somebody might say we dress weird. We hand out food. We hand out, we kill a fucking lamb. Take a little nice baby lamb and kill it. And yell.
But Shalom. But what we do is in the Bible.
Okay, well, they might say what they're doing is in the Bible.
So you ask me how would I prove that wrong?
Yeah, if you battling somebody in the street, right? And they saying, you telling them that what they're doing is idol worship. So what's the idol for Halloween? Right? If you're gonna say, even if you're saying Christmas is idol worship, you could say Santa Claus is an idol because he's not real. Right? And you have a statue of him and you give your children to him and they pray to Santa Claus. Santa, please bring me this. Write letters to Santa Claus, which is not a real person. So what's the Halloween idol? I'm gonna come to you.
Halloween idol will be, like demons, monsters.
Okay. There's an idol for Christmas.
I got
There's an idol. There's one thing. We used to have Santa Claus. I think it might be with the camp equipment, right? There's a Santa Claus that you could go buy in the store. And this is Christmas. What's the Halloween idol?
I don't know.
Okay. Is there a Halloween idol?
One in particular, I have no idea.
I'm going to come to you, question, brother. I understand it first. Go ahead.
Come, sir. I believe the jack-o'-lantern would be one item as a graven image.
That's a good example of an idol. That's a very good example of an idol. What's the jack-o'-lantern?
Pumpkin.
The pumpkin, right? With the pumpkin head,
Come.
right? That's one. That's a good one. Anyone else? Bukash?
I was going to say the jack-o'-lantern, sir.
You was going to say the pumpkin?
Come, sir.
All right. So your idol would be your pumpkin, right? You're growing the pumpkin all year. You harvest the pumpkin. You know, bring the pumpkin in. You carve the pumpkin up, right? And that's one. Anything else? Anyone else? Come on.
The witch on the broom.
Witch on the broom. I don't think the witch on the broom is as popular as the pumpkin, though. Because some people look at the witch on the broom as a witch, like witchcraft. You understand? Some people is like, well, I'm not into witches and shit, but the pumpkin is for the kids. You get the point? Like Santa Claus. Santa Claus is for the kids. You get the point? They don't do no, I'm too up, so lucky, I haven't heard. They don't say Christmas is, the feast of Saturnalia, or the feast of, the lights in the sky, or Krampus. You know who Krampus is? Anybody know? Look up Krampus real quick. All right, look up Krampus. Go ahead.
I was going to try to give the answer.
Just look it up. Just look it up. Just give me what Krampus is. Somebody find the picture and look it up. Right? Give me the answer. Go ahead.
Krampus, as you know, Krampus, instead of Santa Claus coming to give toys and stuff to good little girls and boys, Krampus would come in and kill. He would kill those who were bad.
All right. Let's see what the definition of Krampus says. All right. Who have it? Come on. Go ahead.
Krampus is a horned anthropomorphic figure.
Is it what?
Anthropomorphic.
Okay, I don't know what the hell that means. I'll look up that too.
Anthropomorphic figure and alpine folklore, who during the Christmas season scares children who have misbehaved, assisting Saint Nicholas.
Mm-hmm.
The first of 3 good December.
So he assists Santa Claus. That's what they're saying. Children who give trouble and they assist Krampus is supposed to assist Santa Claus, right? Bukash, pull up an image of Krampus, please. They have it up already? Right, that's what Krampus look like, right? Krampus, I believe could be wrong. It could be, Krampus is I think a Nordic mythologic creature or person or German or some shit like that. Go ahead,
It's like I had a definition for anthropomorphic.
Mm-hmm, please.
The second definition would be having human characteristics.
Give me the first one.
First one would be relating to or characterized by anthropomorphism.
Okay.
The second one was having human characteristics.
Okay, I'm going to say Krampus is something that has human characteristics, but is not human. Right? That's basically what it's saying. All right. Any more on that, young brother?
Sir. It says the other 2 being Santa Claus and Dead Morza.
Dead Morza. I never heard of that one.
Moraz. Salah. Dead Moraz.
Read a little louder if you don't mind. All right.
Sir.
It's a little too whispery.
The other 2 being Santa Claus and Dead Moraz.
Mm-hmm.
The pair visit children on the night of the 5th December. Okay. And St. Nicholas reward the well-behaved children with the modest gift such as oranges, dried fruit, walnuts, and
All right, remember that, right? Oranges, dried fruit, walnuts. Go ahead.
and chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
The badly behaved ones only receive punishment with the birch rods.
What's the name? What's the name again? Dead what?
DEDMOROZ.
All one word?
DED.
Is it all
that's the
one
first-
word or
that's
two
the first
words?
2 words.
2 words.
Come,
DEDMOROZ.
Kamikaze.
Dead morals. This is like a gay Santa boy.
So like if I may, the picture that I got, it has a Catholic Pope.
Oh wow.
And down it look like it. Rebel Quash, you could pull up that too, all right?
Sorry, what's the name?
Dead morals. Dead, DEDMOROZ. Dead morals, right? You have a dead morals woman too. It's like Santa Claus have Mrs. Claus. I don't know what the hell dead morals is, but August is supposed to be the Christmas mythological creatures. You get the point? The Christmas type of idols. But there's one idol. You get the point?
Okay.
Just like Christianity, who's the idol in Christianity? Caesar Borgia, right? Who they call White Jesus, right? That's who everybody, that's the image, that's the face of Christianity. So when you think about an idol, you want to know who is the face of it, right? Islam has an idol. What's the face of Islam?
Muhammad.
The stone. That Kaaba stone. That's the idol, right? Have you ever seen a picture of Muhammad?
Nah.
All right. Have you ever seen a picture of the Kaaba? And then you know what the Kaaba stone looks like. Well, at least what it's housed in. You see the house that looks like a big square. That's the Kaaba, and the stone is engraved in a little gold plated thing, look just like a vagina with a hole in the middle. And the stone is in there, and they're going to push their head in and they kiss it, and they come back out. It's at the corner of the Kaaba, right? That Kaaba is Islam's idol, or the Kaaba stone. Right? You've never seen a picture of Muhammad. You get the point? Who would be the idol of the Nation of Islam?
Elijah Muhammad.
I would say he was, or he's one.
Like the crescent moon and stuff.
That's Islam. That's Muslims. That's the Arabs. Go ahead.
Farrakhan.
You could say Farrakhan. He would be their idol today, right? Or Elijah Muhammad, not Elijah, Elijah Muhammad, more or less, right? That would be their idol, because that's who they have pictures of, you know what I mean, and they of saying or whatever they had to say about him. You get the point? I think he said he's the second coming of Christ or some dumb shit like that. That's what Wally Farad was teaching. So that's how you know who the idol is. You have Santa Claus, the idol is, you have Christmas, the idol is Santa Claus. You have Christianity, the idol is Caesar Borgia. There are other gods they worship in Christianity. Mary, Holy Mary, Mother of God, Saint Peter, Saint this, all these saints. And then they have the Pope. They have them famous nuns who they worship. Was the one who used to give out all the food? She's so old as a Mother Teresa. You get the point? Who they worship. But the idol of all is Caesar Borgia. So, of course, now for Halloween, that idol would be the pumpkin. That's what's, everywhere. You know what I mean? Without fail, you can't have Halloween without the pumpkin. It's absolutely impossible to have it without the pumpkin, right? So that would be your idol if you're going to use that scripture, all right? If you're going to use that scripture about the idol, the pumpkin would be the idol, right? Go ahead.
Shalaki, I was actually looking up the idol for Halloween, and it did give an idol.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Samhain.
Samhain. That's the history of Halloween.
Okay.
Have you ever seen Samhain or Samhain? That's how it's pronounced. Samhain. It's called Samhain's Day. That's the history of Halloween. We're gonna go into it from the brother's question. Have you ever seen Samhain? Have you ever heard about Samhain? That's not the idol. The idol is that pumpkin. Do you go to the store and say, let me get Samhain? Do you print Samhain jersey? Do you say happy Samhain? No, you don't. That's not the idol. However, Samhain is the beginning of Halloween, or Samhain, because it's spelled Samhain, I think, but it's pronounced Samhain's Day, right? So let's get that first, and then we're gonna come to your the precepts for Halloween, right? Look up Samhain's Day. I have my notes on it somewhere, right? Samhain's Day or Samhain. Come on. Yeah, but go ahead, please. Right, you could pull up Samhain or Samhain, all right, Bakwash. Go ahead.
Samhain, was known in Ireland as Lord of Darkness. The Druid religion was practiced by ancient Celtic tribes, Celtic tribes that populated Ireland and parts of Europe. This religion worshipped Samhain, the Lord of Darkness. Some writings also speak of Samhain as the Lord of the Dead. But today's scholars suggest that this is incorrect. The Druid New Year began on November 1st. It is also known as the Feast of Samhain. Right?
Okay, so you have Samhain, who they worship the Druid. You know what a Druid is? The Druids are those people who are into witchcraft. You have the witches and warlocks, right? You have the Druid priests. As I said, from Ireland, they into that. That's why they say he's the Lord of Darkness. They into what they call dark magic and worshiping, and just think of alternative god, just not another god like how they have the Islam and you know whoever else they would worship. That's practical. This is what anybody would consider dark magic or black magic, right? Because they're into witches. Now they're saying he's the god of the dead, but modern scholars are saying it's not so. They're absolutely wrong. Samhain's Day, Halloween. The Germans have another thing. It's Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest. The Christians also have something this weekend. Anybody know what it is? Catholics, to be specific. Right? It's so out of touch. Anybody?
Ash.
That's carnival time. That's next year. Actually, this is the start of that type of period. Right? This is the start of what's called it? Carnival is farewell to the flesh. Right? Farewell to the flesh. It starts here and it goes all the way into Christmas, which is Saturnalia, and it climaxes around that February, March time, just before they, cut off all lust for the so-called 40 days and fasting and all that bullshit. But it actually starts around this time. This is when they start being, these are all harvest celebrations, because this is where you're going to harvest your crop before the winter comes around. You get the point? So now, who's question asked? Oh, the Catholics. The Catholics also have something now that's going on, should be going on this weekend as well. Anybody knows what it is? No sweat. Check online, see if anybody have an answer. I know Catholicism is not that common, especially amongst the tribe of Judah, right? But the other tribes, unfortunately, are heavy into Roman Catholicism, right? The so-called Hispanic tribes and the Caribbean tribes, Benjamins and Levites, heavy into Catholicism. Go ahead.
Shalaki, I'm late, but I just thought of another idol. Things you say, harvest, a scarecrow.
I forget the history of the scarecrow. I think it has something to. I think the scarecrow is in Samhain's Day too, right? We're gonna get it. But the Catholics have a holiday right now, or it's coming. Anybody knows it? Anybody says it yet?
No, sir.
All right, it's called All Saints Day or All Souls Day. Ever heard about it? Where they go everybody either when is the first? Monday? Sunday?
Monday, sir.
Right, either Sunday or Monday, they're gonna go to the grave and put candles on the dead. Right? Because it all ties into Halloween or Samhain's Day, or worshiping the dead. It's really a holiday about the dead, right? You call that Corpus Christi? I think that's something. It might be Corpus Christi, But they call it All Saints Day or All Souls Day. Somebody look up Corpus Christi for me. Salaki. I forgot damn Halloween was this weekend. I was at a damn near review this thing. Let me see Corpus Christi. I think Corpus Christi went already.
Come on, sir.
You have it?
Come on, sir.
Please go ahead.
Corpus Christi. Thursday, June 8th.
Mm-hmm.
19 months and 2 weeks.
What is it?
It says.
Okay, this is about the body of Christ, something. So it's definitely All Souls Day or All Saints Day. You could look that up too, right? All Souls Day or All Saints Day. All right, please. Boom. Here we are. Right, give me All Souls Day or All Saints Day. Read it when you have it, whoever.
Come on, sir. All Saints Day, also known as All Hallows Day.
All Hallows Day, right? Hallow meaning what?
Halloween. Or
look up Hallow.
It's like sacred.
Almost. Look up Hallow. Look up Hallow for me real quick. Anybody have it yet?
come on, sir.
Please go ahead.
Hallow, verb, honor as holy.
Holy, right? It's another word. It's derived from holy, right? Like our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, meaning holy be your name, right? All Saints Day or All Hallows Day, right? So this is a day dedicated to whoever they have in their mind as these are holy people or holy ones or something holy, right? So that's the first thing. This is a day for what they deem as something holy, all right? Go ahead. Because you could trim this back to what? I think I'm done now. I think twice would be good, not too hard, right? Whoever was reading. Go ahead. To what?
The Celts only recognize summer and winter seasons.
Mm-hmm. The Celts only recognize summer and winter seasons, right? Of course, due to the type of weather they have up there. If you've ever been to that part of Europe, that's pretty much it, right? Not extremely hot summers and not extremely. They do get cold. I would say that they do get down to some temperatures, but the summers traditionally is not that hot, right? Like an 80-degree day for us is a heat stroke day for them, right? You have them devils in England be getting heat strokes in the house and dying at 82 degrees, 84 degrees, it's a wrap. It's done, right? So they recognize, traditionally, they would recognize summer and winter as the two main seasons. Go ahead.
Okay. Literally translated, Samhain means summer's end.
Right? Literally translated Samhain's, but it's pronounced Samhain, right? Samhain because it's not English. So you can't say Samhain. It's Samhain, right? Samhain's Day, right? Go ahead. It means summer's end. That's what they're saying? Right? It means summer's end, the end of summer, which is kind of in line with what we're talking about here, because this is around the time they would consider the end of summer, the beginning of winter. They ain't have the fall period that we would regard, right? Go ahead. And for them, that's a holy time, right? Hallowed. Remember that, all right? Go ahead.
At this time, the hours of nighttime were growing significantly over the hours of sunlight. Hence,
sounds familiar? Read it one more time if anybody not paying attention. Read it one more time.
At this time, the hours of nighttime were growing significantly over the hours of sunlight.
Does that sound familiar? Go ahead.
Nighttime savings.
Daylight savings, but that's something that was introduced by Esau later. It was not always daylight savings, right? But due to the, what's it called? No, that's not geography. What the fuck is called that? You know, the Earth is on an axis. So as it's moving around, it tilts a certain time of the year. This time of the year, it's what? Further away from the sun, right? It tilts this way. So that this part of the earth here is further away from the sun. So now as the sun, as it moves around the sun and it's spinning, the sun is what we would call rising, right? Of course, the sun doesn't rise, we're moving, but what we call rising because of the horizon, it comes up later in the morning. So now in summertime, where 5 o'clock you could go outside and it's a little bright, now 6:15, it's still kind of dark out there. The street lights are still on because the sun is now right because it's later. Similarly, in the evening time, the sun sets a little earlier. Now around 6:30, getting dark, right? In about 2 months' time, 4 o'clock is dark. You get the point? It's because of the tilt of the earth. And in the summertime, the earth is tilted closer to the sun, so you have more longer days of sun exposure. When the sun comes up a little earlier and stays out later in our terms. Go ahead.
Is the word solstice?
No, solstice is something with the sun position. You have the summer solstice and the winter solstice. Those are also holidays the heathen celebrate. That's why, what's the scripture? It's Jeremiah 10. Do not be amazed at the signs in the sky. That's where it comes from, because the heathens are amazed at it. You have something called the Northern Lights that you see, I think, in Alaska somewhere. That's the winter solstice. You get the point? And they go and they watch it all the time. And that to the heathen is so amazing. And they were celebrating that long before Christmas. The signs in the sky. You get the point? But the whole thing, it might be geography. I don't know. But that's what happens, right? So now the days are shorter. You get the point? In reference to how we talk. The day is not actually shorter. It's just less exposure to sun, right? Esau, in his greed, of course, because before the Industrial Revolution, how was work done? How was most work done? In the field. Manual labor. Industrial Revolution was what? The introduction of what?
Technology.
No, there was always technology. There was always technology. Technology advanced, but you best believe there was always technology. There's technology in the Bible. The Bible says, sacrifice whichever bird, I'm paraphrasing, mingle it with fine flour and dip it in oil and make a burnt offering unto the Lord. That's fried chicken in the Bible. Fine flour mingled with oil and you make a burnt offering to the Lord. You fry it. You get the point? That's technology. The heathens don't know about that. They eat food how? Raw. You get the point? The heathens do not know about that. What else is technology? If you, I'm paraphrasing, of course. If you're in the forest and you're hunting and you find an animal that dead of its own, what does that mean, dead of its own? Come on.
It died of its natural causes.
Another way.
You didn't kill it.
You didn't kill it, to be more specific. You did not kill it. It died of its own, because anything else could have killed it. What's important is that you didn't hunt this thing down. You could do what? You could do two things with it. Go ahead.
You can give it to someone that's not your neighbor. Yeah, you can't eat it.
Be specific. You can give it to a heathen. You can sell it to a heathen. Or you could just not have it. Right? That's technology. Why?
Because the heathens will eat it.
No.
That's not the word hygiene, but as far as clean, making yourself like clean, and you won't.
How is that making yourself clean?
Help you not catch a disease because of different type of matters that probably would have been in it from rock.
Not so much what in it. Go ahead.
You don't know what could have killed that animal.
And if something did kill that animal, that wasn't another animal or person, that thing could kill you. So you don't put it in your mouth. You get the point? Let them heathens gamble with their life. Let them get, what do we get from eating bad food or unlawful food? Like, pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, animals dead of itself. What do we get?
Would it be COVID?
COVID is one. COVID is definitely one. What else?
Diseases.
Say again?
Diseases.
Yeah, I mean, what diseases though?
E. coli.
E. coli.
High
Yo,
blood pressure, hypertension.
thank you. Give me the nigger diseases, man. Everybody got that shit. Where do you think that shit coming from? You think you're born with that shit? That should come from pork, swine, crab, shrimp. You get the point? That's where that shit comes from. That comes from, going on some vacation somewhere like Anthony Bourdain. You know who he is? Old devil from CNN that killed himself. And he would go everywhere. The name of his program was Parts Unknown. And he would go everywhere and put everything in his mouth. Snake, bat shit, they call it guano. All kind of stuff he put in his mouth because that's how the heathen are. They'll eat anything. We can't eat anything. And that's technology. We did not need microscopes to know not to eat these things. You get the point? Now we know because your grandmother go to the damn doctor and they'll cut her foot off. Why? Because this foot is cancerous or full of diabetes or some other thing, but only if she gave up pork a few years ago, she would have kept her leg. Now your pills bag big as this because of high blood pressure. Because you have to take some for the high blood pressure, but then you also have to take some for all that pissing you're going to be doing from that blood pressure medicine. Then you have to take something else from all that water you're going to be drinking because you're pissing too goddamn much. And that's why all them medications, after they advertise it, people who also do suffer from this, and they run down with 400 different things. Because you're going to need medication for this medication. But if you just eat right, you wouldn't have this shit. We always have technology. Go ahead.
It's like if I can share, I think I know who you're talking about. And one of his shows, he was in Chile, and they chopped off a piece of rock in the ocean, which is called coral. And it's these little worms that come in and out of it. They never come out of it, but they stick their head out of it.
Right.
And the natives would take it and eat it. He said when he ate it, he said if you could ever imagine what the inside of a person's anus tastes like. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know how the hell he knows that.
That's what I'm saying. He probably ate that too.
That's why he killed himself. That's why he killed himself, huh? Yeah, man. Go ahead.
So, like I said, when I was a kid, I knew this person who said she gave up eating pork for a number of years, and then she tried to start back eating it again,
and she got sick.
Deathly sick cancer.
Got sick because your body could stomach certain things, and other things it can't stomach. You get the point? You get sick. You get sick from it. That happens. Sometimes people who smell pork, they get sick. I'm gonna tell you the level to reach on when weed makes you sick. Come on.
Every time at camp.
Come on now.
I'm sick of it.
Come on now.
I want somebody to say something to the brothers, but I know it's not the time. But every time at camp.
Every goddamn time I'm driving through DC, brother, you get in contact at the traffic light because the car next door is puffing. And I'm angry about the shit. And I just, can't wait for Saturday so I can talk about the shit. Because that's my brother at the end of the day. I don't wish he dies. But you get the point. Anyway, let's get back to the topic, right? Where we was at.
Come, sir.
Right, so they honor the end of summer, meeting the beginning of winter. What's the end of summer and the beginning of winter?
What Esau calls autumn.
Something else. They don't consider fall or autumn. They don't consider that. Something else. Anybody? What happens at the end of summer and the beginning of fall? You.
Time, the sunlight is not, it's less sunlight.
It's less sun. Go ahead, what else?
The foliage on the trees start to come off.
Okay.
It gets colder.
The leaves start falling. All right, that's what foliage means. Not everybody might know the word foliage. So you see the leaves fall off. That's why they call it fall. But what actually happens to the tree?
So, Doc, is it just a transition of season?
It's definitely a transition of season.
everything starts to die.
It starts to die in our terms. Scientifically, of course, they say the tree goes into hibernation, right? Or some sort of catatonic state. It's still alive, but because it's going to be so cold and there's going to be less nutrients in the ground, less water flowing, it starts to conserve its energy. And then leaves take energy to maintain, so they drop it. Just imagine losing weight. Imagine you're working out and you're not eating as much, or you're eating and you're working out. Your body is tired of carrying around this weight under the strain, so you start losing weight. Just think like that. The trees is getting rid of the leaves because the leaves it's not efficient for the tree to stay alive. Your body is like that too. With let's say anybody, Lord forbid, get in an accident, you go into a coma. You know why everybody goes into a coma?
Because the body's in shock.
The body's in shock. There's also something else. You gonna raise your answers? No sweat. Go ahead.
Because your body has to heal.
Your body has to heal. Your body has experienced some trauma, some sort of trauma. It has to heal. However, the energy to keep your body going, your body has to make a decision. And your brain shuts down so the rest of your body could live. That's how people say your brain dead. The rest of your organs going. You understand? You might need help breathing, but your brain shut down. You get the point? So that your body could survive. You get the point? Because of course, if your brain keep going and the body shut down, what good is that shit? You can't reactivate the liver. You can't reactivate the lungs. So the brain is going to shut down for a second to let your body start to recover. You get the point? That's decisions your body make. That's technology. You get the point? The Lord done put that system in place. And it's the same thing with the earth. The earth has a time to die and a time to be reborn. You get the point? So fall, all the leaves fall off the tree. They say the trees are dying. Or it's dead. This is a dead period. All the leaves is brown. They ain't green no more. They dead. These heathens would see this and they would signify this time as the end of life and the beginning of death. And they would consider this a transfer of time from the living to the dead. Because heathens are what?
Stupid.
That too. Give him a hand for that shit. They're dumb as rocks. Something else though. Anybody? Go ahead.
I would also say literal.
Literal. There's another word for literal. Literal is very good, but there's another word for that.
Carnal.
They're carnal. Whatever they see, it must be that. Get the point? Them heathens, whatever they see. A man put on a bra, stuff it, and put something in his tail. That heathen just see curves and don't see that Adam's apple. And wake up the next morning and is like, what the hell? I ain't lying. You don't see that movie, what's that movie with Mike Tyson in it? Where they get drunk somewhere in Thailand somewhere. I forget the name of the movie. You know what I'm talking about. Hangover. That whole Hangover series is about them getting drunk, going somewhere and just doing some wild shit from what they see. And that's how heathens are. They carnal. So they see things dying, and to them, this is a time where everything dies. So now they start honoring this period like a gateway, much like how Christians honor the New Year, right? The beginning of something, a new year, new something, when it has nothing new. All right, keep reading.
Come, God, sir. Hence, Lord Samhain reigned over the long winter months as the influence of the sun god and the summer season, Beltane proceeded. Samhain's influence grows with the increase in hours of darkness. He can only roam the earth during hours of darkness.
Right? So now, because, as they say, the sun god has less influence over the earth, because a heathen sees something, they worship it. right? Water. They have a god for water. They have a god for the sun. They have a god for the wind. Anything that's more powerful than them in their mind, they worship it. An Israelite is different. An Israelite, he's going to dominate that powerful thing and use it. You get the point? That's our spirit. But them, they worship anything that's powerful or give them pleasure. That's why they worship women. Most heathen religions somehow worship a woman because a woman can have power over a man. And to them, that's good. They feel good about it. To the normal Israelite man, no. He's not, no. I have power over you. You get the point? Israelite man will see the horse and not worship the horse, but if I could ride this bastard, I could reach to, Cape Name or somewhere for trade faster. You get the point? And over time, the technology increased and he makes cars with what kind of power? Horsepower. But we didn't spend time worshiping the horse. You get the point? We saw that there was power, so you have 300 horsepower, 700 horsepower. It's literally from horsepower. It's literally from 1 horsepower to, that's when they started tying horses to wagons more. Instead of riding 1, you could put 2 and pull it. And if I put 2 more, that's 4 pulling. This is faster than 2. And that's how you start getting that whole idea of it. All that came from Israel. You get the point? The wind power could generate stuff. Yeah, your windmill, wind vanes, your big wind turbines. Water power is the same way, right? You have a stream by, you build something that could retard the water a bit, a dam or some kind of gateway. I forget what them big wheels is called. You know what I'm talking about? When you put the big wheel in the water and it goes against the current, but it pushes the wheel. It's like a turbine. Watermill is really a turbine because it's pushing against the power, and that friction is creating something else. That's what happens in your car with your alternator and your that thing that spins with the fan, that shaft that runs on the engine. You know what I'm talking about? You don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Y'all know I'll be watching too much do-it-yourself videos, right? That car, the pistons is driving and they're on a drive shaft. That's what the hell it's called. It's a drive shaft that spins, right? That spinning in turn works with the other components in your car. It gets your wheels to move. It works with your alternator, with that spinning thing going back, sending power to it so it can recharge the battery. It's all just transferring power. But of course, a heathen is going to worship that thing. We're going to see how best we could use it for ourselves. These heathens here, they was worshiping what they saw. Oh man, whoever ruling the sky is losing because we getting less light. Whoever is ruling the darkness is winning. So Samhain is the god of darkness. He's running the earth right now. We have less time. You get the point? We have less time. So now Samhain is running the earth. Samhain is the god of what? The dead and darkness. And only the dead could roam in darkness. Right? Keep going.
Come.
Give me this one more time, man. Just trim it back down some. Go ahead.
Come. The Jewish New Year's Eve was Halloween.
Right? The Druids' New Year's Eve was Halloween, right? Or Halloween, right? Or Hallows Day. That's the one. All right, go ahead.
Come. Also called Hallowmas.
Right? Or Hallow what?
Mas.
Mass. Where's that mass come from? What's mass?
Christmas.
Right? Christmas. A mass is what?
More.
That's mass, like Spanish.
Like a service.
Yes, like Catholics have Sunday Mass. It's a religious service. Christmas. Any other mass? Hallow Mass. You get the point? It's a service. It's religion. All right? Go ahead.
Come. The Jews believe that
and also that's where the Catholics, we'll come to that, but the Catholics celebrate, they have a Mass All Souls Day or All Saints Day. Who do the Catholics say are saints?
The dead.
Dead people. And they go to the grave and light a candle and talk to a headstone. Mama, I miss you. I remember when you used to buy me those toys. Nigga, she ain't dead. But they put the candle and hold it until the wax burn them. And then the churches would have, you ever see them church? You might see it in a lot of Hispanic movies where the church have an altar. Sometimes they call it an ofrenda. I think that's the word in Spanish for it, ofrenda, which is a place of giving offerings. And they have the pictures of all the dead people up, and they have a ton of candles. And they have to keep the candle lit. They have to come there every day, I think for a week or maybe the whole month. And they have to keep that, if that candle go out, it's a problem in the religion. Right? What they handle? Come on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I grew up in the Catholic Church, I remember I used to have to go visit those, and I used to, you know, like my mother died and stuff like that. They'd tell me, like, put a coin in or whatever, and then light the candle and shit.
Yeah, who the coin is for? Coin is for that preacher to go gamble your money and go drink that money out. That coin ain't for anybody dead. They don't spend it. They ain't got no Walmart in the grave. You get the point? But that's what they do. Or they have these candles with these little cones over their hand, and they hold in it. You'll find pictures of this as you Google it. But Catholicism is less common in the Judaic community, so you wouldn't see it on every day. You have to go look for it. But this holiday is coming up for it, right? Yeah, somebody had their hand up. Who's going to say something? All right, go ahead.
Come, sir. The Druids believe that on this night, all the people who died in the past year would rise up and search for the passageway to the netherworld.
Right? The Druids believe that on this night, everybody who died in the past year would come alive, for want of a better word. Right? Come alive. Would rise up. Or come out of the grave and walk around. Otherwise known as what?
All Saints.
Well, that's where the Catholics get it from. But I'll show you how that comes into Catholicism after. But otherwise known as what?
Halloween.
Well, that's where the holiday comes from. This is the root of it. But just think Halloween. You go in somewhere and there's dead people. How would the dead people be? Would they be walking? What they would be?
Zombies?
No, there's something different.
Like float?
They would be floating. And they'd be doing what to the place?
Haunting?
They'll be haunting the place. That's what this is. Read it one more time.
Come, sir. The Druids believe that on this night, all the people who died in the past year would rise up and search for the passageway to the netherworld.
Hey, do my favor. Let's throw some chats. Please. So, yeah, go ahead.
And search for the passageway to the netherworld.
Right? And remember, the dead would come alive and search for a passageway into the netherworld. Right? Remember, they're searching. They didn't know where it is. If you're searching for something, you don't know where it is. They didn't say they come alive and then they go to the passageway. They're searching. So as they're searching, what they're doing? Just think your average horror movie. What are they doing? That house is haunted. There's spirits, what? What do they say about the spirits?
Walking around.
They're trapped in there. And what at the end of the horror movie, what do they find out?
He just wanted to go.
They just wanted to go somewhere. And this one damn white bitch, you know, she worked the shit out. After she done lose her husband and trip down the stairs and do some dumb shit, she finds some secret book. Oh, all she wanted to do was to go see her kid in the park. And the car goes to the goddamn park, and then the ghost disappears. Right? So every horror movie is something like that. The Conjuring, the one that used to crawl through, they had the TV out the well, right? With the damn hair coming over, coming through that. Everyone is just this troubled spirit that needs somewhere to go. That's from this, right? It's pagan, right? Go ahead.
Come. On this night, the passageway.
I believe I.S.U.P.K have a serious holiday like this too. They made a cartoon about this shit.
You say I.S.U.P.K?
Mm-hmm.
The Day of the Dead, Cinco de Mayo?
No, it's not Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo had nothing to do with that. I forget the name of this shit.
I remember.
Where they paint the faces like skeletons and shit. And they walk around as if they're dead. That's also part of the Halloween thing. That's why you wear a costume. Right? I'm not sure if it's the Day. I'm not sure if they have a name for it, but it's down near the Day of the Dead, which is again the Catholics' All Saints and All Souls Day. The costume. Anybody know why they wear the costume? Right? Even now, those of you who are old enough to remember Halloween, 1 second. Even now, Halloween, Superman had no place in Halloween before. Halloween was about dressing up like who?
A monster or
Scary. Superman, Spider-Man, that should have no place in Halloween. That shit is for what?
Children.
Kids. It's to get the kids into that spirit of it. But the original Halloween, brother, if you didn't have one Jason mask and a damn machete, you was out of damn place. If you didn't have a witch and paint, have a broom sticking between your leg and paint your face green like a goblin, you was out of place. Go ahead.
Like I will say, they wear the costume so they can hide from the dead, or wouldn't be recognized.
Hide in a way, but blend in with the dead because they believe the dead was walking the street. You get the point? So in order for the dead, of course, a heathen is carnal. If this nigga dead, what does that mean if he's walking the street?
That he's undead.
And what does that mean in relation to me?
That I'm half dead.
He might kill you.
Yeah, because he more powerful than death. Everybody fears death. It's a natural human thing. It's a natural reaction to fight death. Your body is wired to resist death. You get the point? It's wired to do it. That's why they have to come on.
So, like I said, I was reading when you were talking about this a little bit earlier. I was reading somewhere where these Moabitish, one of these Moabite nations, on a day that their relative died, they dig them up.
Oh.
And then they take pictures with them and like have a little party with them. And then they
Yep.
put them back in the grave.
Yep, you can find videos of that. There's a whole culture. Even the whole thing now there's a trend where you could embalm the body, and if the person used to like to play video games, they put them to sit down playing the video game in the funeral. All that's in this spirit. It's not Halloween because of course it's any time of the year, but that spirit of the dead can't be dead. Can't just go lay in a box and go on the ground. That's the spirit here. You get the point? Like he's not really dead. Come on.
I was gonna say the holiday you was talking about is I think it's called Calavera, where it's a representation of a human skull.
It could be that, but I know they do that. Everybody paint their face like the skull is black and with the white and the skeleton, and they walk around dead. It's because the same thing they believe. When is that holiday?
It's November 1st and 2nd.
Exactly. It's the same time period as Halloween and All Saints and All Souls Day, because they believe the dead is wandering, trying to find the place to the netherworld or to cross over. And if they don't cross over, if you don't keep that candle lit, they don't get to cross over. And the spirit will be trapped here, forever wandering and haunting people. That's what they believe. Keep reading.
Come, sir. On this night, the passageway or veil between both worlds was its thinnest.
Say it one more time.
On this night, the passageway or veil between both worlds was its thinnest. Lord Samhain.
On this night, the passageway between both worlds, meaning what? The world of the living and the dead, was its thinnest. What does that mean?
What they are saying is like the living and the dead are walking in the same plane.
Yeah, what does it mean that the passageway is at its thinnest?
It's like I said, they believe this is the time where the spirits can transfer over the easiest.
Easiest. Just think like the border. Just think like the border. Right? Is the border easy to get through?
Nah.
No, it's thick. It's like going through something. But then there's a part where it's thin, where it's like a hole in the fence.
Right.
During this time of the year, the whole border is like a hole. That's what they believe. They believe that you could cross into, the world of the dead. Just think every horror movie you ever seen now. Just think, let's call this thing Freddy and Jason. You ever see that one where they fight each other and people have to go into sleep to go fight them? Just think like that. You have to cross over and battle these spirits. And once again, this is the heathen. Right. Like, okay, we can walk outside and the horror movie is right there. Right. Some white cop with a gun. That's the horror movie. That's what gets our heart going. That's where it's like, oh shit, am I gonna make it? I'm gonna go on the run.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, like this is our horror movie. Their life is so good. This is the shit they invent, and that's why most black people can't get into horror movies. We watch horror movies, but we ain't like horror movie buffs as a people. There's some of us who are. But that ain't really our shit because it's like, this dumb bitch, look, she gonna fall. But to white people, it's like, man, did you see this? And you know, my honor, they have a story in their mind to relate to this shit because their life is so goddamn good.
Right.
They create the boogeyman, but for us, they are the goddamn boogeyman. Come on.
And Kat, what you're saying is so heavy. Even the number one scary movie in the black community recently was Get Out, and it's about how white people were the boogeyman to us. Like,
exactly.
That's our life. That's our reality.
Exactly. It's exactly it. You know what I mean? So this is what it is. Let's continue. Go ahead.
Come. Lord Samhain would roam the earth in search of these souls to capture them and take them to his world of darkness.
Right? So now, they think Samhain, who's the Lord of the Dead, he's there that night to get them. I think every horror movie that's based on a time period with some nigga coming back.
Yep.
What's the one with the
Jeepers Creepers?
That's my shit,
yeah,
boy.
too.
That's my shit right there. That nigga, I wanted him to kill everybody like that bus. I was rooting for that nigga.
God, sir.
Even when they cut his head off, and he face coming out, like, that's my nigga right there, boy. That Jeepers Creepers, boy. That's my nigga right there. I come pass over looking like that motherfucker. So that you scare white people out.
God.
Right, everything like that. Those of you old enough to remember, there's a horror movie long time ago called Pumpkinhead. You ever seen it? Pumpkinhead. Yo, go look that shit up. But I have nursery rhyme for Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead was vicious than a mother. Right? He's this. I ain't gonna spoil it for you. But this has to do with the pumpkin. And it's this monster who would come back and just kill everybody. Right? Also, around this time, you have a whole influx of horror movies. You ever notice horror movies don't really come out no other time of the year?
Right.
There's a whole influx of horror movies just around this time. Either late September,
right,
early October, all the way till a little bit after the beginning of November.
Right.
It's always that horror because they're trying to get everybody in that spirit. And the horror movies have some form or some theme that's like what you're reading here. Something that's trapped somewhere, something that's roaming the earth, some powerful being who really just want to, come and get the people to follow him.
Right.
He comes for souls like Jeepers Creepers, some crazy nun somewhere. That series, they, us, what's the fucking series? Them, with the thing trapped in the basement. You get the point? All they wanted to do was get out and go. You get the point? Like, this is the history of it.
Right.
All right, keep going.
Come. To this day, some people put lights in their windows to help the dead find their way.
To this day, some people put lights in their windows to help the dead find their way. That's what they're telling you. There's another reason they put the lights in there. No, in fact, that's where it started. Later on, the holiday got perverted because, of course, heathens being carnal, they're also greedy.
Right.
Very, very greedy. Right? So you had the lights, same All Saints Day, All Souls Day in the Catholic Church. I.S.U.P.K with the Day of the Dead. I believe that's what it's called. Right? Where they dress up in the skeletons and hold the candle. Right? Just go to, if you have a chance, just put on civilian clothes and just walk into a Catholic church this Sunday or Monday night and watch them. Just go watch them.
Right.
You ain't sitting, you ain't there to pray. But just go watch them. You want a good comedy show, go watch them. Just go watch them and watch all the candles and watch how they force the little babies to burn their hand with the candle wax. Right? Just go watch them. All right? If you could find one. Right? Keep reading.
Come, sir. And keep Lord Samhain away from taking them.
Right? And keep Samhain away from taking them. Because, of course, they think Samhain is like Satan who's going to take them to hell. Right? Go ahead. Some of them believe that. Go ahead.
Come. The Druid religion dating back to about 200 BC.
Right? So these Druids were around about 2,000 years ago when you actually look at them. A little bit before that. Right? And they will, they actually call them Druid priests. Right? Because that was their way of life. Right? Go ahead. And they were pagan. And if you know anything about the pagans, in the time when after Christ, when the Catholic Church started rising, what started happening? What was the relationship between the Catholics and the pagans or the church? Because at that time it was just the church.
They were at first they were persecuting, they were warring against the pagans, and then eventually it was fused all into the religion.
Right. At first it was war because the pagans would resist the Catholic bullshit.
Yep.
Right. They would resist the shit. You see it all over in any old school depiction, any kind of old school movie. They'll always put that element in there. They have these pagans they're trying to crush.
Yep.
And the pagans, what was their occupation? In every depiction, in any moment in history, what was the pagans' occupation?
Was they farmers?
Farmers.
Yeah.
They just growing crop. Here, the Druids or the Irish people, they honored what? The end of the summer, because it was when the crop was grown and they harvested it, just like your pumpkin patch.
Right.
All your children going to see the pumpkin tomorrow. They all go into the pumpkin patch tomorrow, right? Right now, Esau calling the Halloween, what do you call it, Spirits Day? They have a new fucking word for it. Excuse my language. It's a lot. They have a new word for it. Harvest Fest. But they have another word for the costume part. Because, of course, people getting so quote-unquote woke now.
Right.
And everybody realized this thing is satanic. So they're trying to pull the children out, but they don't want to keep all schools try to keep their attendance up. Because there's money related to the attendance. So they rename the whole thing. Somebody look it up. I forget what they call it now. You know, dress down day, dress like a super, some bullshit but it's really Halloween.
Oh, Slack. It's Spirit Week.
Spirit Week, that's the mark, Slack. I have some personal with these schools out there. There's some people I want personally to beat daily when Christ comes. And these school people is one of them. That YouTube management and Facebook management, they the rest. I want to give them the daily whipping. Go ahead.
I was going to say, how can I get access to the forms to fill out to enroll my kids in the new I.S.U.P.K school, the academic school?
Just talk to me about it after, all right? Well, I think that school is that's economics. It's not a full program, but it's some of it. You get the point? You talk to me about it after I give you numbers of contact, whichever zone, and you have to work it out based on where your kids live. Because those of you who don't know, the homeschooling or online school, the state has to accept the program, or else they'll take it as your kids is out of school and they'll try to come see the kids. You have to make sure that they accept it as, by their standards, right? So we find that out, right? But of course, if you don't have to, you don't need to do that, which is it's good to do it. You can just keep the goddamn kids home for that period of time, and what? The nigga had COVID. Right. You're talking about what? He getting penalized for having COVID? Right. Yeah, anytime you celebrate these bullshit holidays, they're gonna have COVID. That's gonna be my new thing. They was exposed to somebody who tested positive for COVID. Right. You get the point? So Spirit Week. So each day they dress up like a certain spirit. Some days pajamas, some days superhero, some days what you want to be. But it's getting your kids in the whole spirit of around this time we dress up. We dress up, and as you get older, it gets more perverted. Yeah, one day your son just gonna come home with a rainbow color hair and a dress, and it ain't gonna be Halloween, and he gonna tell you this is my spirit. You get the point? But all that is that bullshit. Keep talking. Go ahead.
Oh, Salaki, sir, if I may. In high school, and Trooper Shapak can attest to this.
Mm-hmm.
We had Spirit Week, and one of those days was when all the brothers dress up like girls and the sisters dress up like boys. And you see,
I ain't never let my kids back.
You see who's who that day.
You tell the wrong nigga that. That's a lie. I'm a Benjamin. I bleed for the family. You just scared me right there. I just see Freddie and Jason behind me. What? Dress up like what? Go ahead.
It's like I can only attest to the fact that there was a Spirit Week.
I don't know what that gay shit you talking about.
Oh, it's like if I could, it's
say it's so heavy because the same yesterday in yesterday's class, Officer Kazak Ahmad was saying how they're slowly turning the temperature up on what's going on, and they make it seem like it's so little, but they're turning the heat up drastically, and we're just sitting in the pot.
It seemed like it's drastic, but that should have been turned since civil rights. Right? That should have been. It's been turning. It's been turning. And right now we in a bad place right now. We not. Anytime you can't speak out against homosexuality, you're in a bad place. You're in an absolute bad place. All right. Yes, some more there. Yes, some more there.
Shalom, yes, it will. It's a lot more.
Let's go.
The Druid religion dates back to about 200 BC. Had priests and priestesses. These magicians, soothsayers, or wizards filled the most important roles in Celtic culture. At the time, the Celtic tribes were close to nature.
Close to nature, meaning what? They were farmers. That's really what it is. Any farmer is, he has a different appreciation for the natural way of life. Because that's how he eats. That's how he lives. He's very careful what he puts in the water, where he utilizes the water from. He might go upstream or downstream, depends on what he's putting in the water. You get the point? He might be, careful what he puts in on the land. He understands smell. You understand? Anybody who's good with the with agriculture and stuff, you could smell when the rain's coming. You could feel it. Now you could feel it. It gets warm at a certain part. Like if tomorrow it go up to 70, you could bet Saturday is a thunderstorm. That's just how it is. That's just the calm before the storm.
That's like I said, if I may, I met certain brothers where they can smell if the dirt is. They go digging. They can smell if the dirt is fertile or not based off of I guess it's a certain smell that's in
because of the nutrients in the thing, the potassium, the nitrogen, the oxygen. They could tell if what it needs, right? Based on it, they're very close to nature. Go ahead.
Like when I'm in the country, I can smell the rain.
Yeah, some people could smell it coming before it even hit. You get the point? You ain't gonna smell it here because of all the damn carbon monoxide and them chemtrails they be spraying all over to keep them insects away, them frogs away from your house. But when you go out in more rural areas, of course, you're gonna smell it. The air is different. It's just different. You get the point? Keep reading.
As a result, they worship many things in nature as their gods.
As a result, they worship many things in nature as their gods. That's what happens when you become pagan. When you let your carnality take over. Now, things that happen naturally is a reason for you to now submit yourself to it. You get the point? Submit yourself to it, which is, is so anti-Christ. To submit yourself to these things when, what does the Bible say in Genesis? Anybody?
It's like I still got Exodus right here.
Let me see. That might be better. I don't know.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 4. Thou shalt not make unto thee any engraven image.
Nope.
Or any.
Genesis.
Yeah. Genesis. With a G, not the J.
It's like in the end of it was what I was trying to get to.
All right, read the end.
Concept.
I'm a priest. No. Go ahead, read the end. Read it.
Of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
Somebody pull up the Bugs Bunny when he said no. The Bugs Bunny face, you know what I mean? No. All right? But I know you needed to read the scripture, but no, Salah.
So like, you want a precept saying
what I just said. It's antichrist to submit yourself to something that occurs in nature, to something that occurs naturally. Anybody online? That's a nigga Jeopardy. Come on, who's with it?
I got Jeremiah.
I want Genesis. Not Genesis, but Genesis. All right, let's move on for time. Genesis 1 and 26. Somebody read it real quick. Read real quick.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion.
Let them have what?
Dominion.
Let them have what?
Dominion.
Submission.
Dominion.
Submission.
Dominion.
Bow down to.
Dominion.
Pray to.
Dominion.
Go ahead.
Over the fish of the sea.
Over what?
Over the fish of the sea.
No matter if it's a huge ass whale that's more powerful than you. Go ahead.
And over the fowl of the air.
No matter if it's a huge ass eagle that you just making every predator drone in the shape of. You're supposed to have dominion over it, rulership over it. Go ahead.
And over the cattle.
Over the cattle. Go ahead.
And over all the earth.
Over what?
All the earth.
The sun. Go ahead.
And over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
You're supposed to rule everything out. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to just rule everything and run everything and control everything. To submit yourself to some shit that's natural is anti-Christ. How do we know that? Because Christ is supernatural. Get the point? He's not natural. He's not terrestrial. He's extraterrestrial. You get the point? We are not, the God we serve is not a carved stone. It's not Haile Selassie. It's not whatever religion, any religion USA. The God we serve is not that carnal thing that can be stopped. COVID stopped the Christian church. It literally stopped it. You get the point? Right. Them strippers found a way to have a drive-through whole house. Stripping. But the church closed its doors. The God we serve is not like that. He brings the COVID. Right. You stop because of the COVID. We're not the same. And that's what they're saying. We ain't the same. Right. The God you serve, gets COVID. The God we serve brought the COVID. We're not the same. We're not the same. Right? To bow down to it is totally anti-Christ. These heathens, they were close to nature. Right. We're not close to nature. You get the point? We're absolutely not close to nature. All right, read on.
Sir. No Druid god was more powerful.
Read it again from close to nature.
From close to nature. As a result, they worship many things in nature as their gods. Mm-hmm. No Druid god was more powerful, nor more feared than Lord Samhain.
Lord Samhain. Right? Say Samhain, all right? Not Samhain. Samhain. That's how it's pronounced. If you type it in and look up the pronunciation, it says Samhain. Samhain, not Samhain.
So is this where Baal comes from, or is that
Baal is before? Baal is with I think Nimrod.
Okay, cool.
Baal is in the Bible is used for anything that's against the Lord, right? Traditionally, but Baal is, I believe, the weather god, right, which is the Romans and the Greeks have as not Thor, Zeus. Who's the one with lightning bolts? Zeus. That would be Baal, right? Baal would be the weather god, and of course the pagans. I see what you're saying. The pagans would worship Baal because, of course, the pagans need the weather to grow, the crops, the nature they're so close to. You get the point? It's similar to like what Gad and Reuben suffered when they came to America. Gad and Reuben, what is give me it in the Apocrypha real quick. Give me it when they left. Second Ezra, what, 13? 13 and something. Look it up real quick. When they left the Assyrian captivity. Is it there? It might be first. It's first?
It's second Ezra is 13.
Read it if you have it up.
Come on, sir. This is the book of second Ezra is 13. Would you want me to start at 40 or 41, sir?
Anyone. Whichever one it talks about the 9.5 tribes.
Come on, sir. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, 13 and 41. But they took this counsel amongst themselves that they
a louder to her.
But they took this counsel amongst themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. That they,
so they took this counsel amongst themselves, not of the Lord, but amongst themselves. Right? Go ahead.
That they might dare keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
All right. So now, what was the reason Gad and Reuben and Ephraim and Zebulun left the Assyrian captivity?
To go serve the Most High.
That was the intention. Right. The Christians got one thing right. The road to destruction is paved with good intention.
Right.
And that's why it says it there. They wanted to go somewhere else to keep the laws they wouldn't keep in their own land. You get the point?
Right.
It's like, it's like the Lord's way of saying you acting brand new. Like you ain't doing that shit here, but you go in front, the Jeffersons and them, and you act like you all, well behaved and well mannered. But when you in my house, you a goddamn, monster. You get the point?
Right.
You want to be all nice. You ain't nice in the house that's yours, but you go somewhere else and it's like that. Now I have tribes had every intention of keeping the Passover, Feast of Tabernacles, and everything in this new land that no man knew. It's called Ar-Saret. Right. But of course, because the council was of themselves, what were they supposed to do? What were they really supposed to do?
Ask a man of the Lord.
Nope.
It's like if I may,
that's true, but in this situation, it's a little bit different.
Join on to the other tribes?
No.
So what was the question?
The 9.5 tribes left in the Apocrypha. It tells you how they left the Assyrian captivity, and they said they took. Read it again from the top.
Come on, sir. This is 2nd Ezra 13 and 42.
Yeah, read 41.
Come on. 2nd Ezra 13, 41. But they took this counsel amongst themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
Right, they left the multitude of the heathen. Why? Because they were in captivity. Right, they were the minority there. Right, go ahead. And they was going into a land where no man dwells. Keep reading.
That they might dare keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
Right, which they might keep their statutes and laws, which they never kept in their own land. This was, of course, a mistake. What was Gad, Reuben, Ephraim, Naphtali supposed to do?
Sir, if I may, they were supposed to keep the law, statutes, and commandments.
That's true. But here they say something else. What were they supposed to do?
Serve the Lord.
That's true. Something else though.
They're supposed to keep it right there where they were in the first place.
They were supposed. What do you mean?
Like instead of trying, like you said, being brand new, going here to do it, they were supposed to represent the Lord where they were.
And where were they?
They were in captivity.
So they were supposed to do what? You're right there. You're right there with it. And it's so relevant for today, for any idiot who's planning to talk about fleeing.
Oh, they were supposed to not keep the spirit of the heathens.
Keep the commandments in captivity.
In prison now.
Right.
You're behind bars. Somebody tell you when to wake up, when to go to work, when to eat, shit, take a bath, strip you naked.
Right.
You're supposed to keep the laws in there until your time is done.
That's right.
You're not in prison forever. It tells you that in Baruch. He did not give us to the. Give me that too. Give me Baruch what? 46, 6 and 4. Real quick. Somebody who know where it is, find it quickly. When we get back on. You still have some more with Sarwin? All right. Hold on to it, all right? So again, this is the long one. This is the history of it. But of course, if you understand the history of it, you could break it down using different precepts for people who do it. Right? What you would find when you're battling somebody, I'll come and say that. What you find when you're battling somebody who is entrenched in these things, you're going to have to go in there and crush their belief. You understand? You have to go there and crush their belief, not so much give them the precepts, even though you're crushing their belief with the precept. But if you don't get to what they believe and you're attacking everything else, you're not gonna make a dent. You understand? Go ahead.
I was gonna read.
Please.
Okay. Baruch chapter 6, verse 4. Now shall ye see in Babylon gods of silver and gold.
I don't think that's it. Go ahead, keep reading.
And of wood borne upon shoulders, which cause the nations to fear. Beware, therefore, that ye in no wise be like to strangers.
Right? That's of course telling us to not be like the heathen, right? Because you're going to see, big old idols, right? Wood and stone that the heathens worship. He said, in no wise, don't be like unto these strangers. All right? We got 6 and what, 4?
5.
6 and 5. Hold on. It might be 4 and 6. Well, go ahead. Let me let young man hear you.
Barak.
Baruch has a different names.
Please. Say again.
Doesn't Baruch have 2 names? Like,
What do you mean?
somebody, is it another name for Baruch in the Apocrypha?
Well, it says Baruch right here. All right. Now, if you can show me an Apocrypha that says something else, then help, by all means, I'll say whatever else you show me it says. Right? Akim, you don't stop watching these fake fucking Israelites on the diamonds. Or at least if you watch them, when you come to my class, maybe other brothers could stomach that shit. I hardly think you all will. But when you come to my class, act like you don't even know who they are. Act like when I mention them, you're like, who the hell is that? Do that. Don't bring this shit to me. I have kids of my own. I'm wiping diapers for the longest. Don't bring their shit to me. What does it say right here? Spell it. Spell it at the top.
B-A-R-U-C-H.
What does that spell?
Baruch.
Is there any other name for the book?
Nah.
All right then. Fuck. God damn it. Read the damn scripture. Y'all shit.
Baruch.
I'm about to have salad. Drink this down. Shit, man. God damn it. Is there another name? What the fuck is he talking about? The name is what he had I said is. Baruch. 4 and 6. Read.
Baruch chapter 4, verse 6. Ye were sold to the nations, not for destruction.
It says a word right there.
Not for your destruction.
Read what you see. That's the nice. Whoa, listen now. That's the nice thing about the UPK. It's plain. It's so good. John Katham say it so well. It's like the UPK is everything there is for you. You just have to see it and do it. There's no guile. There's no, there's no trap door. Like, got you. There's none of that shit. What you see, just do that.
Right.
That's it. You come in here, you hear men saying Canada one can, just say it. Find out what it means later. That's it. Men saying shalom, say that shit. Don't tell me there's another way to say it. There's another classroom outside this door, dude. I can tell you that shit. It ain't the same one, but there's another class going. You could just go to that fucking one. Yeah, this is for everybody. This is
I'm fine.
Listen, keep going. Let me finish it out. Just before I go, of course. Go ahead. Read that again from the top, please.
Baruch chapter 4, verse 6.
Music to my goddamn ears.
Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because you moved God to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemies.
Right? We wasn't put in captivity so we could be destroyed. We were put in captivity for a time. Not for our destruction, but for a time. You get the point? The 9.5 tribes, they should have just served their punishment up. Right? But of course, all things work for the will of the Lord. They're over here now, and now they get taught by the UPK. You get the point? But of course, they left with the intention of keeping the laws. But when they came over, what happened? The rain god. What is your name? Wind that rushes through the mountains. What's your name? Sitting bull. The totem pole with different animals and different things on it. You understand? The river running wild, and you live your whole life from the river. You get the point? They're all very close to nature, not close to the super nature, which is the law. Come on.
So if I may, making women chiefs.
Making sisters chiefs? I didn't know that. They do? Shit. I need to go get me a chiefess. I'll go in there. I'll pluck them feathers off your head, sis. Don't worry about none of that shit. You run things around here, I'll run you. No problem. Go ahead.
You want a good laugh? I tried to get a brother to come into class or whatever earlier. And he was like, man, I don't need to come in there and learn nothing about Yahweh. First mistake. Second of all, then he was like, you know what I'm saying? See, I'm an Indian. You think you a Hebrew. You ain't know I knew that.
Okay, he sound like he gonna be forced in these doors out. Yeah. He sound like he gonna run into class. Right? When I was young, the truth generals always say, it's better to come to class on your own when you can than to run to the class when you can't run.
Right.
That day comes too. Yeah. That day comes for every man and every woman. There's a day you could literally just pull up and walk up into the class with your health, your strength, your two limbs, your sanity. And then there's a day, brother, you breaking red lights, leaving the slave early, being all extra because the fire under your ass now. And you still don't make it to class. Right. You get the point? Just, he sound like that type. He sound like, he is going to be. Hey, SHALAM! He sound like there's going to come a time he's just going to run up in here. And he's going to eventually tell the story of, yeah, man, I used to be stupid as shit. I used to say I was an Indian. And you were a Hebrew. I didn't know I was a Hebrew. And he's going to be laughing. Don't worry about that. You know what I mean? That's why these doors stay open. Right? That's why these classes are so serious. The work is so serious. Go ahead.
SHALAM, what I meant was Sirach, the book of Sirach.
Okay, well, let's go to the table of contents. Go to the table of contents, sir. Go to the table of contents. You hearing me now? Go to the table of contents. All right, let's see if it's there. You don't have one in the Apocrypha? Or you don't know how to find it? Which one? No sweat. Okay. I'll take a quick 2-minute break. Find it. Go through the whole table of contents. Because I come up here. See if I find it in my book. See what? We go talk to Sawi. Let me know when you find it.
Can I get my?
You what?
My apartment.
Oh yeah, you bet. You found it yet?
Huh?
You found it?
No, I'm saying like I have a apocryphal online that say like Sirach or whatever, but it's really Ecclesiasticus.
No, you got one.
That's what I meant. Nah, this my apocryphal don't have no paper contents.
You don't have a table of contents. Does anybody have a table of contents in their apocryphal? Do you see what was the name? Sirach.
Yeah, that's what I was mixing up with Baruch.
Don't sweat. Do you see that in there? Nah. This is what Captain Shop was saying, and it's not just personal to you. And I had this conversation with a brother. Hopefully he's watching right now. I had this conversation with a brother last night. You are going to confuse yourself trying to take being open-minded. Like the world will teach you, you guys are wrong. You gotta open your mind, brother. You gotta be open when that's gay.
Right.
You gotta be closed-minded. You gotta be absolutely closed-minded and be one way. You understand? That's it. You understand? Like I said, Shapar, this is not specific to you. I literally just told a brother this last night because he confused because he's watching this camp and this camp and this camp, and then he's trying to put it all together. And it's like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna watch all the camps, then I'm gonna have the whole truth. When really what you're doing is you're confusing yourself.
Right.
You understand? You understand? You observing heathen customs because you're being taught by people who don't have the truth. The I.S.U.P.K is the home of the truth.
You find it yet?
And no, lie, sir, it's not in there.
You sure?
Yeah, Kawakasa.
Okay. What does it say? What is Sirach? What book you talking about? Huh?
In some people I guess call
Or some
ecclesiastic
people.
cuss.
So tell me who some people is. I'm treating like the FBI.
I don't know. I
Who's
had
some people?
Slucky. I had a
Have you ever heard anybody in here say it?
lots.
All right. What should you do?
Just go with that word. But I mixed it up with Baruch. I didn't meant to say. You know.
I hear you. Have you ever heard anybody in here call these books by any other name? This is a hell part. The rule is very easy to follow. What must you do? Just follow. Just follow. That's all. Just follow. So now, since we dive there, let me just take a second away from Samhain. All right? Go to Ecclesiasticus. And read the first thing you see in the book of Ecclesiasticus. Please.
I'm confident. The wisdom of Jesus, the son of Sirach,
Okay.
or Ecclesiasticus.
Okay. What's the book called?
Ecclesiasticus.
How you know that?
It's in bold print.
And it's what? What else is there?
It's bold. I mean, it's big. It's bold.
It's the biggest thing on the book. What does that mean?
Now, that's the title.
That's the most prominent thing. That's it. Why is it not called the wisdom of Jesus? Why isn't it called Jesus? Why isn't the book called Jesus? Because Ecclesiasticus is bigger. That's the title of the book. Hold on. Give me Esther. In the Apocrypha. If you can't find it, go to the table of contents. Super easy. Please.
I don't have a table of contents in my pocket.
No sweat. Look through and see if you see Esther.
Chapter and verse.
Read the first thing you see.
The rest of the chapters of the book of Esther, which are found neither in the Hebrew nor in the Chaldean.
So when I say give me the book of Esther and the Apocrypha, am I saying the rest of the chapters in the book of Esther? No, give me Esther and the Apocrypha. Give me Bel and the Dragon. I'm coming right to you. Please. And I'm harping on this point because I want this spirit all the way out of here. Out of here. I want this shit UPK or nothing else. That's right. All the way. UPK or nothing else.
That's right. So Bell and Dragon, sir?
Yeah, just read the first thing you see.
The history of the destruction of Bel and the dragon.
What's the name of the book, though?
Bel and the dragon.
Exactly. It's not called the history of the destruction. You get the point? The book is called Ecclesiasticus. The niggas who calling it Sirach is having sex with men, is throwing away their wives, committing adultery with other men's wives. Just don't bring no shit you see on the internet in here. I'm clear? I'm sure? I'm clear. Whatever comes off of this podium is from the Lord. And if you think it's something vain when I'm making myself the Lord, then get the fuck out. All right? If that's in your mind, even remotely, just go somewhere where God ain't sitting here. Go behind them like your homie. You get the point? Let the thing be pure and UPK as days old with no change. I want no smell of them faggots up in here. None. talk like that. Who are they, Hannah?
That is.
Slack it, please.
It's like if I may, so just to harp on what you're saying, it's so One West. I remember coming in here and watching the videos, and I didn't even know what the hell brother was saying. Khan. I just was saying, I just knew when a brother answered, Khan. And I just wanted to say what the brother was saying, and it wasn't until later, brother, it's Khan out of one Khan. Oh, what the shit. I just want to say what you were saying.
Ain't no sweat. You're in here.
Right.
You know those UPK is trying to keep it UPK.
Right.
You get the point? You got it, Hannah?
No.
You good? Solid. Where we was at? What scripture I put?
You get pulled Baruch 4 and 6, sir.
Good. So now, 9.5 tribes is the same thing happened to God over here.
Right.
Passover is not celebrated on the reservation, but the solstices are. The tomahawk, not the tomahawk. Totem pole has a place with God. You get the point?
Oh my God.
The wind and the sea, and
It's like would you say the way, just the way that the Gadites name their people is sort of similar to in history how the way we name ourselves?
Yeah, even the way they talk. Gadite language is very blunt, like Hebrew.
Right.
Like Hebrew is not a continuous flowing language with ors and too much of ands and stuff like that.
Right.
Hebrew is very. Our words have a few words attached to it.
Right.
Just one word, and it could mean something based on the context and the emotion at the time. Right. Like Israel. Right. Nigga come and say, let's see something that's coming up. You going to the Halloween party this weekend? What might your response be?
No.
What might your response?
F no.
You might say F no. Okay, let me get something. Okay, let me just make it plain for time's sake, right? Israel, we say she a whole lot.
Yeah.
Nigga, you go to the Halloween party, it's free. She. You don't have to explain what the fuck that means.
Right.
Everybody knows what does that mean.
Hell no.
Hell no. What else?
Tripping.
Nigga, you tripping.
Yeah.
What else that means?
I ain't going.
Boy in the way.
Boy in the way, boy. What does that mean?
Why the hell you asking me?
Why the hell are you even asking me? You know I ain't going. That one word. Now something happened. Shit. What does that mean?
Something happened.
Something happened. It's the same word.
Right.
But that's how we are as a people.
Right.
We are that people who we could convey a whole lot in something little.
Exactly.
But to the white man is like, something else.
Yep.
You get the point? Like he's something else. And that's how Hebrew, the language really is. You know what I mean? The language is like that where, give me a Hebrew word that, has a mouthful. Adawan. I'll take that. Come on. Ra'ash. Breathe. Attack. What? Start. Continue. Ra'ash. Start. Continue. Kaya. Life. Right. Live. Recover. Right. Living. The brother name. Pagaibawa. Right. To attack. Right. Or attack. Right. That's what his name really literally means. For him, attack. Right. Attack. That's when he gets called. It's attack. That's all they want him to do. Just dog the shit out there. Just attack. Right. It might also mean to fall on somebody. Right. Get it, boy? I don't want. Can. How you say I don't want to a brother ain't how your rib saying I don't want. Right. She say I don't want in a different way. Take a drink for that. Come on now, please. Bayah, house. Right? House or place of dwelling. Also, Bayah could be in reference to what?
Family.
Because of the house, something else.
Shema.
I'm gonna come to that. Bayah like school, right? Bayah Saparium. Now we say in the prayer, right? The prayer to bless Israel, bless the school, right? Bless the school. Is it up there?
No, it's
Wahabayah Saparium.
Yeah, come on.
Right? Wahabayah Saparium is what?
bring up another word.
Step in deep end of the pool. You go back to shallow. I will come on to it. And then Wahabayat Saparium.
And bless the angel, bless the school and the angels.
Saparium, like Saparia, like Captain Saparia. With a Saparia. Saparia is scribe, right? Saparia got his name because at the Baltimore camp, he would come to camp and sit on them steps in the corner and write all goddamn day.
Right.
Every scripture, every speaking. He just start coming out in all black and just writing. And he would never say a goddamn word. And his name was Saparia. You get the point?
Okay.
Saparium is what? Many scribes, or what the scribe wrote, many times like scrolls.
Right.
The school in Hebrew is Bayath Saparium, house of books or house of scrolls, because that's what a school is. A school is a place that has books, right. And you open the books and read ye out of the books of the Lord. Right. Habayat Saparium has the Bayath house scrolls, Saparium. But that's books or scrolls or scribes or depends on your context. Let's see every Hebrew word. Go ahead. Lashawan is what? Tongue, language, what you speak, what you say. You get the point? Dabar is also what you say, words. Hebrew is much like that. It's a blunt language. Even how they depict God speaking in the movies, real blunt, like big rain, big cloud, big rain. Just like that. That's really how Hebrew is if you translate it. Right. You get the point? House of books. Bless house books. Right. You get the point? Like if you were to translate it, Yahweh in the name Jesus. Bless. What's after? Barak. What? Bless and bless Israel in the names. I ain't seen what he play. Yeah. What's the other? Bless Israel. Wahabayath. Bless house books. It will read blunt like that. To make it palatable to us, it would be bless the house of the books or bless the school. Which is a place that has books. Right. That's what synagogue actually translates into, a place of books.
Good question. Okay, so like for the Native American Indians that speak their language before, like how they say, oh, how, what is that language actually called?
Whatever tribe it comes from, it's a dialect. Okay. Each tribe has a dialect that it comes from. A lot of Native Indian words are Hebrew words, a lot of them, right? Or variation or kind of bastardization of the Hebrew language. Right. Now, a lot of them is like that. You get the point? So it's still there. You still find a trace of it there. But by and large, of course, because they left the supernatural power and went to a land where nobody knew, where they thought they was going to do it, they didn't do it. And now they're close to nature, just like the Irish with Salem. Let's continue with it. Come on, real quick, last one.
Thwada for bringing up this little segment right here, because going through the Lashwan Kodash classes, I came across the word Mayam. I think
that's a good one.
It means water and heavens.
Yes, because the heavens is what? In Genesis, it says he made the firmament to do what? Our paraphrase, separate, come on.
Separate the waters
from
each other. So
separate the waters from the waters. That's what it says. Because to the Lord, to Esau, it's a different place. To the Lord, it's the same place. Why? Because you have to do the same thing in them. When you go into outer space, there is what they call zero gravity, which means you what? Floating. Okay. Depends on your weight, depends on your height, your build. When you go into the ocean, you are going to sink to a certain level and you float. Right? Depends on your build, the floating height is going to be different. Right. Because of the buoyancy, right? Because of the air in you, how you're built. You might float higher up or lower down, but you're not going to go to the bottom. Even a body doesn't go to the bottom. That's why they weigh it down with bricks to try to get rid of a body. Right. You float somewhere or once you get full of air, it comes right to the top. Right. You float in water the same way like you float in space. When you go in deep sea diving, what do you wear?
Big scuba diver.
The big compression suit. Right? You wear that big compression suit, not the regular scuba diving, but the deep one. You gotta wear that specialized suit. Even to walk on the bottom of the ocean, you gotta wear them big ass boots with the weight in the heel to weigh you down and keep you down. And you have to go ahead, time to roll, no sweat. And you gotta have that air pocket that's coming into you, the big glass dome. When you go down to space, you wear special boots and you have to have air and you're floating around in the same way because it's the same thing. So they call heavens waters the same way like they call the water waters, because you have to behave the same way in either place. But again, Hebrew, mayam means waters. Depend on the context of the conversation. You could be talking about outer space or in the ocean. You get the point? So that's how it is. That's how Hebrew is. Ain't no sweat. Let's keep going. Silent, all right?
Call, sir. The roots of Halloween are traced back to the Druid religion and Lord Samhain.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, Halloween took its aspects of darkness, black color, evil spirits, and people rising from the dead and roaming the earth on this night.
Right? That's the aspect. The black color, evil spirits, people rising from the dead and roaming the earth. Now, why are the spirits evil? That's the part. Do they say it later on? Yeah, see you later on.
Not right away.
Okay.
Sorry if I may, sir, because it's really people that's going out committing these evil acts during this time, and they attribute it to the spirit.
Well, that's what it's coming up to. That's definitely what it's coming up to. All right. Keep reading up.
Call, sir. These themes of Halloween are all common with this religion. Pope Gregory II moved the Christian holiday of All Hallows Eve.
All Hallows Eve, which is All Saints Day.
Right.
All Hallows Eve is actually All Saints Day.
Right.
All right. It's actually All Saints Day or All Souls Day.
Right.
All right. Which is what? October 31st, just before November 1st. Hey, Pugado, you just go ahead and drill out a roller. You have to jump back. In future, let's do a general salute. Right? And you know how to do it loud to disrupt the class. I know soon you're going to be up here. Don't worry about it. You're going to be teaching. Don't worry about it. You have to jump down. All right? I call him Pugado. Salaki. Pugado. Salaki, brother. Where we at? Please.
All Hallows Eve from May 13th to November 1st to coincide with the feast of Samhain.
Mm-hmm.
All Hallows Eve honor the saints of the church.
On Hallows Eve, they honor the saints of the church, which is the dead.
Right.
The church is dead. Who they're mourning for? Go ahead.
Moving the date of All Hallows Eve was an attempt by the Roman Catholic Church to downplay the pagan festival.
Right? It was an attempt by the Catholic Church to do what?
Downplay the pagan festival.
Go ahead.
Hopefully, they reasoned it would replace Samhain and the pagan celebration would fade away.
Right. So now, what ended up happening was everything to what? What's up? Okay, no sweat, no sweat. Hey, it's to what? It's to what? No sweat. Or you can slide over if you need more room. You need some more room? It's to what? No sweat. Okay, so really, this is where you would get them councils that they always talk about. The Council of Chalcedon, Council of Nicaea. There's another one I always forget. It's 3 councils, I believe. The Council of Chalcedon, the Council of Nice. They say Nice or it's Nicaea. And there's another one. I think it's 3 councils. These 3 councils is what shaped Roman Catholicism or the church after Christ. And in these 3 councils, I forget which one they decided what, but this is where they had decisions on what they was going to teach in the Catholic religion. That they was going to teach the Trinity, that Christ, the Most High Christ and the Holy Spirit was one. Why? Because some pagans believed in multiple gods. So now to make them accept Catholicism, now, see, it's the same thing. It's just what? God by a different name. Anytime you hear that, it's to make people assimilate into Catholicism. They also decided, go ahead.
I was gonna say, is it the Ecumenical Council?
I can't remember. That don't sound like it though. I know it's Nice, Nicaea, Chalcedon. It might be that. I can't remember the third one. That sounds a little bit like it. I ain't too sure.
So like, so if I could, so is this why I hear this a lot when people say, well, with Christianity or the Muslim religion, they'll say, well, it's all the same God.
It's all the same God because they want you to, drop your God and give up. It tells you that in the Apocrypha too. Give up the religion of their fathers and your fathers and take up their religion. That's what they really want. The Arabs as a people, their culture is what? Anybody knows? What's the culture of the Arabs?
They're very violent.
Well, they're violent. Ishmael would be a wild man, but there's a culture in them.
Is it like nautical? It revolves around like traveling. And
why do they travel?
Because they were merchants.
They were merchants. Arabs are salespeople. Right? That's why I come to Dubai and they build a whole hotel underwater. You wake up with the fishes. But they're salespeople. The Arab is by nature a salesman. He's a merchant. That's why they talk to, hey, my friend. Listen, my friend, you sit down and you swear this nigga love you. You don't. But that's their nature. They're salespeople. The Jewish man is like that too. So what they say to you, brother, is to get you to buy what they're selling. So when they say, well, it's just God by another name, brother. We respect Jesus too, and Muhammad, and Moses, and they put everything together to get you to accept that bullshit. But it's really a sales pitch. You get the point? So this was a sale. Come on.
I was gonna say, is it the First Council of Constantinople?
The Council of Constantinople. That's it. Constantinople, Nicaea, and Chalcedon. That was the three main councils that shaped the Catholic dogma that we have today. I forget which one decided what, but that's where they decided Immaculate Conception was going to be taught. That Christ was a demigod. The Trinity. Easter came out of that instead of Passover. There's a few other things. Of course, the Virgin Birth, Immaculate Conception, the Trinity. There's a few other things. So, and of course, from these councils, that's when they understood that, okay, we have to make these variations to reach the masses. Which is why why the UPK remains staunch on what we have as the UPK. You might find it's over the top. We too this and we too that. And thank the Lord we are this way. Else we'll be like you, nigga. Full of faggots and full of whores. You understand? And them same whores you'll have over there. I ain't saying no disrespect to nobody, but it's the truth. Come over here and try to get with brothers and then start talking about how much they was passed around by y'all. You understand? This is why the UPK is so staunch in it, because little changes now mean we have a pope over a whole deacon. What's it called? An archdiocese of deacons and bishops and priests who molest thousands of children from a small change.
Like Sarah.
So what? Give him a hand. If there's one thing I can say about this art right here, he learns, man. He learns the hard way. I try to make sure he learns the easy way. He prefers the hard route, but he's going to learn. He's going to learn. That's why he's my brother, because he learns. He learns and he accepts the UPK. You understand? The UPK is a different place. These things don't happen. We don't care how close you are to nature, nigga. The Lord could burn the tree down. You understand? You pray into the tree, the Lord gonna kill the tree. Now you gonna come here? No problem. You understand? Who do we fear? The Father we fear. That's right. We don't submit to nothing else. Nothing else. Right? Even for the sisters, that's why the class last week with the sister who got raped and the abortion shit. A woman has a certain responsibility to die before the sun. And because of this world, a woman is taught to be a goddamn child her whole life. and just to, to preserve her life and never make the hard decision. No. In here, you're going to have to die before you get raped.
Right.
You're going to have to die, or I'd rather go, buy you some veneers and nurse your eye socket back to, health, knowing that we don't have an awkward situation in the bedroom no more. I'd rather just, you have stitches, you have internal bleeding, we have insurance, we're going to raid, GoFundMe. The whole school going to pay for your surgeries.
Right.
But this nigga ain't get to rape you, and you knew the importance of keeping your honor.
Right.
Versus, we have to go to psychology, you're trying to kill yourself, you're trying to cut yourself in the damn bathroom, you on suicide watch all day because you tried to save your life. Bitch, die.
Yes.
Bitch, die. Salaki. Give the Lord a hand. Just go ahead and die. We will write your name, we'll put pictures up on you. Your name will never be forgotten.
Right.
I'll go personally and make a new daughter and name her you.
Right.
In honor of you.
Right.
But don't give yourself to no damn, fake Israelite sodomite.
Right.
Which is what there is. Some Christian in the world who wants to kill who you are because he's weak.
Right.
Don't do that. Die first. Just die. Right? And you find that you're willing to lose your life for the sake of the Lord, you're going to save it. You might come out battered and bruised, but we're going to fix that. You're going to be back on Instagram in a year. Don't worry about it. You're going to be looking better than ever. And everybody going to respect you as not the bitch to F with.
Yeah.
Everybody going to know these UPK bros, they're not an easy rape.
Right.
Go rape somebody else. But these sisters in here, they're going to fight back. They're going to kick up a store. Some of them going to pull the Glock on you. I ain't going to tell you who. You're going to say, you're shot. And this is a loud bang. Somebody call 911. What happened? She shot me. Why? Don't call 911. I'll go by the vet because you're a dog. That's why.
Right.
Sawin. I'm going too much off. Sawin.
Come.
Where are we at? Please. Quickly.
The pagan festival continued to be celebrated, and Halloween involved largely from it.
Mm-hmm.
Today, the Catholic Church tolerates Halloween, recognizing it as
The Catholic Church does what?
tolerates.
Look up the meaning of tolerate. Right? Just so you get it. Tolerate, and then because once whoever gets it, just start lining up the precepts for these type of holidays, right? Yeah, I mean the type of thing. Go ahead.
Tolerate. Allow the existence, occurrence, or practice of something that one does not necessarily like or agree with.
Read it
without
one more time.
interference.
Read it one more time.
Allow the existence, occurrence.
To allow the existence, which means what? What would you do? If you wasn't tolerating it, what would you do?
Like if I may, you wouldn't come in there. Or
Okay,
deal with
to allow something means you have power.
Right.
So if you're allowing the existence of something, if you're not tolerating it, what would you do?
kill it off.
You would kill it off. And that's what was happening with the church, which was these, European empires and the pagans. That's what Braveheart is all about. Pagan customs meeting the good and holy church. God save the queen. God wills it. That was what they say. The Lord wills it. And they just go kill everybody. That's what the whole thing was. They couldn't keep having these wars, It was expensive. You know how expensive it is to raise an army?
Yeah.
It's an expensive thing to take boys from 12, 13 and teach them to fight until they're 21. You had to feed them, clothe them, you had to get them whores. Not wives, so whores, because they're heathens. Right. Or boys. You had to satisfy the lust so they have the energy to train and fight. And then what? Because some heathen want to worship a pumpkin and you want him to worship Caesar Borgia, now you got to go kill these boys who you raised for 8 years or 10 years? Nah, we got to do something about this. You know what? Let them keep their pumpkin. We're going to tell them it's all saints, all souls, done. Right. Get the point? Come on. Now, rather than in one day, this 8-year investment is dead. Right. Now you have to go and make peace with your enemies because you don't have no more soldiers. Right. And then until you can raise up your next army. It's expensive to go to war. It's expensive. So these things had to be done. It's politics. Go ahead.
That's what I was going to say. That's why a lot of rappers say, get your money right before you go to war. Shit like that.
Yeah, it's expensive. It's war is not cheap.
Right.
You know what I mean? Come on.
Sloppy, what's that phrase that they use for what you just said when they say God with us, so we go kill it? What they call it, an inevitable destiny or something like that?
Manifest destiny. I think that's the manifest destiny is something a little bit different. I think manifest destiny is along the lines of only the strong survive. Yeah, I think it's like a nature taking over. I'm not sure if there's a God in charge of manifest destiny. Because manifest destiny is you making your own destiny.
Right.
But you making it because you have power. Like you are in control of your destiny. This is me manifesting my destiny. You get the point? That's why they say you was at camp Saturday, right? What did the Edomites in the capital should say? The last thing he said.
He was like, you conquer. Like you allow this to happen.
You allow this to happen.
Right.
Meaning to the oppressor, our slavery is our fault because we didn't fight hard enough.
Right.
He manifested his destiny. He fought and he won, so he thinks he's in charge, which is void of God even being there.
Right.
When the scripture tells you the Lord put him in charge so he could show his power in that day.
Right.
You get the point?
Right.
It's a little bit, I believe so. I might be wrong, but I believe that's what it is. It's void of somebody in control. That manifest destiny is only the strong survive. Survival of the fittest. If you're weak, you die.
Right.
It's the Roman thing where they would kill the babies. You ever see the 300 movie where they throw the deformed? That's a real thing.
Yeah,
they would abandon their children if they underweight.
Right.
Everybody like to think it's some kind of retardation. It didn't even have to go that far. It could have been underweight. It could have been, brown hair in front instead of blonde hair, which is the quintessential white man.
Right.
That's it. You get the point. You want to create a master race of people. Right. That's what they do. Inevitably, that's what they did to us in slavery. You get the point? You was weak. You was too short. You was too weak. You would not be allowed to breed out. You understand? They engage in active breeding. Yeah, you ever see the article where the devil said, imagine LeBron James and Serena Williams made a baby?
Yep.
That's that spirit. They look at us and they're like, damn, look at LeBron. Damn, look at us. You could imagine their baby. You know what they think? King Kong.
Right.
That's what they think. They want to see this big physical specimen because he's carnal.
Right.
Our oppressed, the heathens are carnal,
right.
Which is not like us. You get the point?
Okay.
Where we was at? Right, tolerate. Salafi, give me tolerate Dawuda, please, quickly, and we go on.
Allow the existence, occurrence, or practice of something that one does not necessarily like or agree with without interference.
Right? You wouldn't necessarily agree with the shit, but you allow it to happen without interference just because. You get the point? You would allow, you'd stomach it. Like you would stomach this bullshit. But really, if it was up to you, you ain't having this shit out. You're not having it.
Right.
But you're stomaching it. That's every pagan ritual that the Catholic Church has allowed. And Halloween is just them stomaching pagan filth.
Right.
To them it's pagan filth. You get the point? So now, what started happening was you would have bands of people, it might say it later on in the article, look through it and see, where on these nights, you would have gangs of people, because this was harvest season. This is where you would harvest a ton of your crop, right? It done grow, harvesting your cattle or your young cattle that's born to come up strong. They would go and raid places. They would go and, break in your house, break windows, burn down barns in search of crop and harvest. And what people would do is give them the harvest so they don't burn your house down. So they don't steal from you. They don't destroy your property. Halloween, what happens if you don't get candy? What do you used to do? What do you used to do? You bury the egg from May. You crack the egg and piss and do all kind of shit in a little bottle, and you bury that shit and let that shit ferment. And if that house don't give you candy, nobody don't do that no more. That's old school. That's super old school. Y'all think it's just toilet paper? No, it's that egg. Your house ain't fresh eggs and all that. Yeah. That used to be piss and puke and shit in a bottle buried, so it get heat up and ferment, and the bottle swell. And that stink. I don't care what bleach you use. That ain't going because it stank. you better give me that candy. That's Halloween.
Concept.
But it comes from this Samhain's Day where these ghosts would come and they would blame the ghost. They would say, it's the ghost. You have to feed the ghost. You have to feed. They're undead.
Right.
You have to feed them, and people would put out treats.
Right.
Treats out there so these ghosts could eat, but it's these gangs of people. Right. And in order for the gang not to maraud you in the street, you have to now dress like the dead. Right. That's your costumes, right? Come on.
It's like if I made sure two things. I know I never went trick or treating in my life, but I heard Esau, they would take feces and put it in a paper bag.
Yep.
And then burn it on your porch. And it's like, so as you coming to put it out, most people step to put fire out. You stepping in the hot fire, the hot
nasty. Hot shit.
Yeah,
it's hot shit over here. It's a wicked, disgusting day of criminals. Really, that's what it really is. Come on.
Sadaki, I just want to ask, what's a response to people saying that I noticed a lot of holidays, people would say, well, I'm doing it for the kids.
You're weak.
Calm.
You're weak. Who says that the most?
Black people.
Which part of black people says that the most? Women.
Calm.
Is the child support for the kids?
It's supposed to be.
Is it?
The child support is for the kids.
But is it?
No.
What is it for?
It's for her.
It's to get slayed. And what does it say? Get snatched. Snatch, bitch. And get the effed up eyebrows. Child support is also for the kids. But who's the child support really for? Her. Who's Halloween really for?
Her.
Yeah. Yep. She gonna buy that whole outfit, drop the kid off by the bed with some dumb Negro who have candy. Salati. We got some more? You have that part with the Raiden?
Just a little bit left.
Please.
Today, the Catholic Church tolerates Halloween, recognizing it as a fun holiday.
As a fun holiday. It's just fun. Until you go bobbing for apples and end up with a mouthful of pins. You don't know about that, right? Where they put razor blades and pins in the apples for the kids. I don't know which kid you would which one of your children you would let go to a stranger's house and dip the goddamn head in a barrel of apples. Like, nigga, I mean, I don't care who it is. Come ask me if you can have it. Right. Just get in the habit of that shit. Right. Let me, get your children in the habit of power over them. Right. Of just asking permission. And they'll grow into adults that would respect power over them and ask permission to do certain things. And they'll just grow up better. That free will shit is what helps this bullshit continue. Right. You get the point? Keep going.
A fun holiday and is not intended to hold religious or other supernatural beliefs or religion.
Right? It's not intended to hold religious and blah, 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 but it really is. Right. It's meant to keep the religion of the pagans alive so they don't fight, because the pagans caused the empire. Because the pagans, even though they were pagans, there was no punk in war. You understand? It wasn't an easy kill. It was literal fighting. You saw what William Wallace did. It was hard on the empire because the empire just, it's too much money. So it was to keep certain religious customs alive. Also, the children part of it, where part of the Druid shit is some old sexual shit too. It may have it in there. You can go look this up on your own. They believe sexual energy is transferred to spiritual energy, which is why the witches ride the broom. The broom was supposed to rub between a woman's leg to excite the woman. You could go look it up. That's what they believe. When you look up the witches' customs in the Druids, they call it a broomstick, but I believe it was just a pole. I don't think it was a broom. I ain't too sure about the broom, but of course there's a pole between the witch leg and they're going around the fire in a circle, chanting different things on certain nights, because that sexual energy from them stimulating themselves, it goes into euphoria, and they believe that translates into spiritual energy. You get the point? I believe the Stonehenge has something to do with them bitches too. I ain't too sure. You know for sure?
Yeah, a couple customs. They said the Stonehenge was basically it was erected by the Druids. And they said it had they would sacrifice virgins and all type of, like you said, they believed in the sexual energy of it, and so like that's why they had a real big heavy thing of being child molesters and pedophiles.
That's what I was coming to with the Halloween. Look up for me real quick, right? I know we're over the time and we've done it about 5 minutes. Look up for me real quick when how many children go missing a year around Halloween. All right. If the stats is not the same, but I believe not too long ago that it was a record, like it was an increase of missing children around Halloween time. Just gone missing. Also animals. Animals would be kidnapped and mutilated and tortured because of course all that torturing is a sexual energy as well. Is that what's called sadistic and masochist, the SNM? Masochistic. I could never pronounce the word. I know it's sadistic and something else. Right. That's why them cops, no matter how much you scream and yell, they just fire your ass up with the taser because that shriek you yell when you get tasered, it ain't a manly shriek. Right. It's, and they get turned on by the shit. They lay their whole body on you and press it up. It's a sexual energy thing that these heathens have. Right. But this Halloween also, it's part of that shit too. Right, which is once again, the children also go missing a whole ton because of all that sex involved. And of course, the Catholics is famous for missing children and sex and all that type of stuff. Anybody pull it up? Animals being tortured around Halloween time and children missing? No, so you might have to look it up. It may not be so anymore because of all the technology, the cell phones. But at one time, not too far, maybe like late 80s, early 90s, it was normal where children would go missing and animals would be found all effed up. November 5th, right. November 4th. You have a little dog or something, cat or bird or something, it gone missing and it's just messed up. Right. Go ahead.
It's like I said, what I think they're doing is taking it off the internet to make it more acceptable. But I'm finding what they do is most states, they increase the restrictions on registered sex offenders during Halloween.
Exactly, because it had to be in response to that because you have the adults who would dress up and lure kids with the candy, right? Because of the sex involved in it. Of course, going back to the Druids, go read up some more on the Druids. You'll see what I'm talking about. A lot of it is a whole ton of sex and sexual energy. Go ahead.
Like I have a paragraph.
Please.
Come. 9 in 10 parents, 89%, report that their child participates in Halloween activities. 3/4, 73%, go trick-or-treating door to door. Half, 50%, attend parties at school. 1/3, 36% participate in a community event at venues such as shopping malls and recreation centers. 3 in 10, 29%, attend parties at a friend's or neighbor's home, and 1 in 8, 13%, march in a Halloween parade. So like, he didn't say it didn't get to the missing part.
No sweat, but it's definitely there. You might have to go to a ton of linked articles, but as Zach was bringing up, why would they increase the restrictions on with sex offenders around this time of the year? Right. Because if there was no restriction, these guys would prey on the kids, right. And that would mean the kids would go missing because ain't nobody return. Hey, here's a kid full of violation after nobody doing and killing the child. You get the point? So the Halloween is that it's a cross between the pagan holiday Samhain's Day, right. All Souls Day, All Saints Day, and the Catholic religion to make it acceptable, so they don't have to fight no war. Right. So in order for these same, what religion are the Irish today?
Celtic. Oh, it's like they're Catholic.
They're Catholic.
Yeah,
they're Catholic after I.S.U.P.K. After I.S.U.P.K. is the Macintosh, right. McDonald. Right. You get the point? Right. The Irish, they accept it because of that. Right. Not because of the Samhain, but the councils and the compromises the church made to gain the pagans. Because they was tired of going to war. It was tired of going to war with the pagans. So you know what? Just come be part of it. If you can, beat them. Join them.
It's like by May 2, and that's why you have St. Patrick's Day, because St. Patrick, he went and converted so many of these so-called Celtic, Irish, and Scottish pagans into Roman Catholicism.
Martin Luther King did.
Exactly.
You get the point? It's that. So now we have silence. Let me get a few precepts out. Give me you want an Amos Then give me the one with sacrificing your children unto Molech.
Okay, sir.
All right. Make your children to pass through the fire. Give me Amos first. 5:20 to 25, I believe.
Okay, sir.
Go ahead.
Amos chapter 5, verse 20. So shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark, and no brightness in it? I hate, I despise your feast days.
I despise your feast days. Halloween is a big feast day with I can't even get I stopped drinking coffee, but I remember one time for the whole month of October, I was angry because everything was pumpkin spice this and pumpkin this and pumpkin latte and pumpkin. Nigga, just give me black shit, man. I don't want all this gay shit you're giving me here. Just give me the regular shit. You know how the regular shit? No, I'm not sorry. At that point, I knew I had to get my own plug for coffee. Right? Pumpkin this, pumpkin that, pumpkin pie, pumpkin harvest fest, whatever else. And they market it to the kids so much, you feel pressure because your children want to go to the farm because kids like farming shit. Because they're young and they're full of energy. They ain't old and boring like adults. Right? You need an old, boring life. I watch children run and jump down the stairs and flip over the couch and tie the damn bed sheet around them. And I'm like, well, goddamn, nigga, your life got to be better than mine. Because I got way more than you. I drive a car that could talk back to you. Nigga, you put a sheet around your neck and you jump off the step, flip, roll, dive on the couch, and you like, your life is way better. So, of course, a farm to them is like, look at the woods, look at the dirt, look at the seed, and the pumpkin patch, and the horses, and the pressure is on you so much. Well, you stop them. Just bring them to the lamb slaughter next year, right? We're doing it in Florida this year? Cocoa Beach. I say Cocoa Beach. What do you all say? Cocoa? I don't understand this shit. I don't say Cocoa Beach. I was like, what? Cocoa Beach. You don't ask for hot cocoa. You ask for hot cocoa, right? Cocoa Beach, Florida, the Passover this year. Come on down, we're going to have the lamb slaughter. They can play with the lamb before you kill it. Let them see you kill it. But kids like the farm, so it's so much pressure on you to keep the kids away from the shit. Right. There's so much pressure because it's a huge feast day. Right. That's what Halloween is. It's a huge feast day. We are the feast this time. Right. They're feeding on us because black people are all the way into it. And once black people go into deviancy, we go in. Yeah. We spend the money and buy the costumes and do the whole Halloween parties and forget about the freak parties. It's on a weekend this year. When it's during the week, you're all right. Right. They get greedy. They celebrate it the weekend before and the weekend after because it's in the middle of the week. Right. But brother, when it's on the weekend, the clubs is full of the vixens, the broads with the see-through lingerie shit. Right. And all the down low niggas who want to dress like some old gay nonsense because it's Halloween. Right. Nigga, I knew you was gay, yes, man. You're not fooling nobody, I'm Bruce Jenner. Yeah, to F you, it's she. Right. She. I knew you was gay. I always knew you was gay. I'll tell everybody that's who you choose to be. Right. Ain't no problem. We go into it and we feel now it's more economic. Right. You get the point? It's more economic than religious, but the roots of it is in religion. Right. And the Lord hates the feast day. It's a feast. You're going and buying a ton of food for Halloween, and you're giving people and strangers and this and all the pills they're going to put in the candy for the kids, the needles and the razor blades they're going to put in the candy. A ton of it going to happen. Kids have to go to the hospital. They're going to cut open their whole mouth, biting into candy. Just raise your children better. Just buy candy the rest of the year where they're not energized by candy. Right. They're not energized by ice cream. You take your kids to the playground. I look at some people, children run into the damn ice cream truck. I'll be like, look at you. You ain't know you're raising a little whore and a little son of mine. I hate to be so raw, but that's what it is. Because if you could get someone to respond to a song like that, no wonder when the Cardi B and the Megan Thee Stallion come on, you can't control the crowd because she start dancing and sticking her tongue out like a whore. Right. Because she's been trained to the animalistic response. I forget, it's Pasteur, one of them scientists, did the thing with the bell and the dogs, where they would feed the dogs and ring the bell at feeding time. And then one day he rang the bell and didn't feed the dogs, and they started foaming at the mouth because the sound was associated with food.
Right.
And that means in their brain, they're expecting food to come, so now the saliva start flowing, because that's what happens when you eat, and your gastric juices start flowing because you're expecting food. It happens to you when you chew gum. You ever notice you get hungry when you chew gum? Because your brain knows your mouth moving, but ain't no food coming. And then you start getting hungry. There's some scientists did it with some dogs, and it's the same thing. It's, you know, it's dog whistle, or it's some little, you know, song that gets a reaction from you. You want to train your children better so they become better adults. Right. If you have that weakness, focus on not responding to certain things.
Right.
Not responding, not turning every time you see that ass. God damn. Right. If you have problems turning, wear them shades. Wear them horse blinder shades where you hear, but really your eyes all the way in the corner. You get the point? No problem. You wear that thing right here. The brothers think I'll be doing that shit. So sometimes I come to camp with no shades, so y'all could know. The app's watching me. Y'all don't know that shit. Why do you think she comes back for the flight? It's because of y'all. Bitch know who the fuck I am. She coming back, you know. She by the table like this. Yeah, so what does this mean? And then I cut in to give her a little show. Hey, let me say something there. I give her a little show, you know what I mean? Ain't no sweat. But you get some pair of shades, you know, some horse blinders. So you don't, you know, you ain't reacting. You ain't so carnal. Just practice being less carnal. It helps. It helps, all right? Let's keep going with Amos.
I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them.
Right, they offer burnt offerings and meat offerings, which is this could be used for any religious holiday, anyone. But of course, this one too, because of course the offerings is what? Trick or treat. Exactly. The pumpkin, the spice, the coffee, you know, pumpkin, mocha, cappuccino, latte, whatever. It's all that. Come on.
It's like I said, if you some Judaite families down south, what they'll do is they'll have a dinner, which lets you know it's pagan. They'll have a dinner, and at the dinner they'll set up a plate for like their dead relatives.
God damn.
To honor in Halloween, like it's let you know it's the.
So what happens after the dinner?
They just put, they leave it right there, and then the next day. Well, I wouldn't know.
Listen, read Bel and the Dragon. The destruction of Bel and the Dragon. That same thing was happening in Bel and the Dragon, where these I think we were under, I forget which captivity, but they was putting food for the dragon, and it's Daniel. I forget which brother it was. Somebody was stealing the food, and they was mad. The heathens, I believe, was mad, and he came up with a way. I think he put ashes on the floor, right late at night to see who would come steal the food, and then the next day they saw the tray, which is technology, of course. But the heathen, he thinking what?
It's a dragon. The
dragon eating.
Right.
The Israelite had to come and say,
idiots.
Man, I was eating that shit.
How are you?
Right.
Come here. Let me show you. Let me show you something. Oh, you know how I just do it?
Right.
Here you go. The dragon is dead. You get the point? It's that. It's you know the feast days, right? Keep reading. Suck, you had anything about?
So like I was just gonna say that sounds a lot like Christmas and Santa coming down.
It's the same thing. It's the same. It's the East Indians putting milk in front of the cow statue.
Right.
I was watching some history thing today on different archaeological finds. You know these East Indians would dress the helicopter up like elephants for parades. So it looked like an elephant flying in the sky because you know they worship the elephants.
Right.
You could go look it up. A whole elephant in down sky because they worship elephants.
Right.
You get the point? Go ahead.
Neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts.
Right. Go ahead.
Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs. For I would not hear the melody of thy vows.
Right, that's for all the Catholics and the Christians celebrating All Saints Day and All Souls Day, gathering together to sing different songs and whatever else. Go ahead.
Sorry, if I may. when they talk about the songs, can we relate that back to
Gospel?
gospel music as well?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Because the Lord ain't listening to that bullshit. I know, I turn that shit off.
Yeah.
Something about Sunday morning radio that's just, I get in the car and then peace. Fuck out of you. I'm talking about peace.
Right.
Something about that shit is just take that away from me.
Right.
The noise of that song, like to the Lord, to us, to the in you, the Holy Spirit of the Lord. That shit is like noise. And it's some soothing, cool music. It ain't, hardcore rap. And then that boom bap. Right. But you hear that rap, it's like, yeah, I could vibe to this. Right. But that gospel is like noise. It's like white noise. Yeah. That's the real white noise. Gospel music is white noise. Keep going on. It's like, you got your hand up, young man? Go ahead.
I was just about to say, like,
come on.
That's heavy that you're saying that, because the same spirit that the Lord is talking about on here, I only know about the I.S.U.P.K is the only ones that do not like that gospel.
Everybody else like that. Even when they try to rap, even when these fake Israelites try to rap, you should song like Jesus.
Yeah.
It sounds like that, like Kirk Franklin about to come on and be, let's pray. It sounds like, but that ain't Jeremiah and Ezekiel and what the fuck, nigga? What you talking about? That ain't that prepared slaughter shit that I can't be saying. Give me my hand. That ain't that Catholicism shit. That ain't, Captain Time War. That ain't, come on, got a bad, what's the name of the song I like? Oh, boy. Come on, got a bad John Captain Time War. Forget the name of it. It's a real cerebral type song. One of them beats from Boys in the Hood type shit. Yeah, because that tomorrow with that 144,000. New breed. There's some cold ass songs that talking about the Lord and the kingdom, and YAHANNA have sipping on my sorrows. Cult leader. You know what I mean? Like that shit is the Lord, is the spirit of the Lord, but it ain't that Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Isaiah. It ain't that gay shit. Just because you're calling the names in the Bible, that shit don't make you holy, nigga. That don't make you, which is again, you say Sarah. Give me the book of Sarah. You gay faggot. Just keep moving on. I ain't trying to get fired. Just keep moving. Quickly.
Amos chapter 5, verse 24. But let judgment run down as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream.
What else going to happen this weekend? A ton of killings and shootings and kidnappings and stabbings. It's going to be a literal horror movie. Yep. Keep going.
Have ye offered unto me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Israel?
Right. We didn't offer sacrifices to the Lord. We didn't keep the Lord's feast days or his holy days. Right. That's what he would need for Halloween. Go ahead.
Salaki, if I could, sir, when I was in the world, Halloween was the day where niggas dress up in a costume and go do things that they wouldn't regularly do.
Well, listen, that's what they was doing. Yeah. That's what somebody, the scriptures say the children of Mammon are wiser than the children of light. You know what that means? Nah. People in the world are extremely resourceful and smart. Right. Only when you come to truth, you be like, how can I pay my bills now that I'm serving Christ? And I'm you lose all hustle and guile, and you forget, you're like, well, I can't do this. Nigga, go hustle. Go yike up their ass, man. Do whatever you have to do. You get it? I didn't do anything illegal. But the people in the world they do shit that is like, that's fucking genius. You know what I mean? Like this nigga here was smart. Yeah. Smart with what they're doing. You get the point? That's how people in the world are. That's what happened with the original Halloween. They realized that these idiots was scared of ghosts. They dressed up like a ghost and said, since you're so scared, give me your money. Come on. Give it to me. Give it to me. Ooh, give me that meal. Give me that meal. I'll burn this house down. I'll bring you wrath and fire of Samhain down. Here. Don't hurt me. I'll be back next year. And you go around the corner and laugh with your homies. That's Halloween. That's what it really is. All right, give me sacrifice of children unto partially fire. Give me Deuteronomy 18 and 10. Give me Deuteronomy 18 and 10 real quick. And Ezekiel 16 and 21.
Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 10. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire.
In fact, Ezekiel 23 and 37, that's a better one. Okay, go ahead, because I'll read that one.
Kawakah, sir. Or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch.
That's cold blooded for Halloween right there. Observer of the times. This is the time of the dead and the living, the transition period. An enchanter, a witch, the druids. You cause your children to pass through the fire. You're literally putting your children in danger, sending them out in a trick-or-treat group. Right. Yeah, we have a saying in the islands, your friends will carry you, but they won't bring you back. It's an old school saying from old ass Benjamin, my grandparents. I didn't understand this shit until the first time I had to call for help. You set a car for me because where so and so? Send the car, man. Send the goddamn car. Your friends will carry you, but they won't bring you back. Right. You get the point? You're putting your children through the fire. Right? Give me Ezekiel 30. What's the other one? 23 and 37.
Oh, God. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 23, verse 37. That they have committed adultery, and blood is in their hand.
They have committed adultery. That's who's going to be out trick-or-treating, adulterers. Right? And blood is in their hand because they don't have abortions and murdered people. Go ahead.
And with their idols have they committed adultery.
And to this weekend with that idol, with that pumpkin, they're going to commit more adultery. Because she's going to say she was drunk and she didn't know. She thought you had on the costume when it was really, Ricky. You understand? Yeah. There was some breach in the Queen's palace some years ago. It wasn't Diana. It was some other daughter, and they were saying she was having an affair. You could go look it up. And there's this Caribbean song about it where the brother was saying there's a man in the bedroom, and I didn't know it was you. He was singing it from the perspective of one of the princesses, the duchess or something. And he said he's tall just like you, but taller. He's strong just like you, but stronger. All that shit gonna happen this weekend. Because some broad in a vixen thing, her man dressed up like Freddy Krueger, another nigga dressed up like Freddy Krueger, but he more Freddy. He a little bit more. The blades is longer. You get my point? It's stabbing a little deeper. But I thought that was you. You can't blame me. It's just Halloween. Next year, let's just dress like twins. You get the point? All that's going to happen this year. Somebody continue reading quickly.
And have also caused their sons, whom they bear unto me, to pass for them through the fire to devour.
And their children, as they go out this weekend, they're going to drop their children off at Halloween parties and put them in these groups with these, these people who going to walk your kids like a dog walker through these neighborhoods and pick up all sorts of Oxycontin and everything else. And most of all, just make your children accept this, whorish, adulterous, unholy behavior. You get the point? And you want to know why your children would grow up and lie to you. You use them 2 precepts. You break down Samhain in the best of your ability from what you remember. You'll drive the point home. If they don't get it out, they will get it. If they don't get it from you, they'll get it from somebody else. You understand? We good? With that, pass the class over the priest and officer. Go ahead, Adam.
I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We're the I.S.U.P.K. out of 1 West, 125th Street, out of Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shake themselves to the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers, in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verses 21, and Malachi 3 and 8 through 10. Means 10th in Hebrew, and it's pronounced by I.S.U.P.K. 10% of any increase of of what the Lord gives you, you give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation. The next upcoming Holy Convocation is Salafi.
Feast of Dedication. Feast of Dedication.
Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah, sir. Which is the 25th day of the 9th month by the space of 8 days, which starts on Sunday, November 28th, 2021, for 8 days. You can find this in the book of Maccabees, which is in the Apocrypha. The book of Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 52 through 61. The next upcoming I.S.U.P.K event, which is in Las Vegas, which is November 11th through the 14th.
Right.
That's a cookout. Las Vegas, November 11th through the 14th. Remind Argument Agwafi.
Also, too, y'all remember Passover is this year. Florida is going to be what? April 15th? It's a Friday. I believe it's April 15th. Is Passover this year, 2022. Y'all start making your arrangements now. April 15th, Passover. Feast of Unleavened Bread, April 16th. All right. You take time off for the both days. Both days. And you're not keeping the Passover if you're just there for the night of the Passover and not for the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Right. We was all out in the wilderness for the Feast of Unleavened Bread after being kicked out of Egypt. Make sure you're behind us down there in Florida Saturday night too. All right. Go ahead.
Remind Akim and Akwathan to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K events and materials. If a brother wants to become a trooper in the school, you should start wearing all black, which includes black boots, black shirts, black pants, black headbands, or scarf. And with that, we say a mighty will be sustained. Sister, you can stay seated. Give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, a mighty Shabbat, a mighty Barak.
Yahweh Shem Yahushua Brakatha. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Brakatha.
Yasmatah, saw, which means to turn. Sister, you can stand up. We'll give one courtesy salute to the sister. Men of Israel, a mighty Shabbat, a mighty Barak. Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Yasmatah, and with that, class dismissed.
All right, anybody who outside?